I need a same look for dinner.
All
And
right. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to BabbleGab tonight.
yay! Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Servos.
Guess who's here? Other than me.
Huh.
Tony.
I guess I'm here.
Was,
Everybody has their sugary drinks.
my Tang.
Oh, space orange juice.
Absolutely.
Have space food sticks too?
Sorry. Sugar's bad for you. I've got rum and Kool-Aid.
Yeah, there you go. Now you got a screwdriver.
Cool.
I'm gonna get me some of that moon tang. I like it.
That moon Tang.
Oh yeah, that and space food sticks, man. I don't think they have space food sticks anymore. That was the space program shit. The little cylinder of vaguely food-like tasting substance, but we loved it just because it was space.
Yeah.
Yes. I got those Pop Rocks for those for space.
That would probably present a problem.
And you guys gotta forgive me. I'm eating dinner while we're talking.
That's cool.
I mean, out and
He's
about.
having a sweet and sour soup with the.
Yep, I'm having. Yeah, I sure am.
I like that. That's about the closest you'll get to me with vegetables. It's got the bean sprouts and bean shoots and things in them. I
Yeah.
like. That was do what?
I said I like a good salad, man. And at my age, a good salad,
Your age.
At my age, a good salad.
I don't know.
For
Never
me.
turn into a rabbit.
I've never. The words "good" and "salad" have never actually coincided in my vocabulary.
I like salad
Toddler, I
too.
ate everything. I ate all sorts of vegetables. I ate eggs. I ate everything when I was a little kid, and then I just outgrew that shit.
Lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles.
Everything. I ate everything.
On a cheeseburger, sure.
Well, see, that's where I was going.
Ah, okay.
Why would you want? Why would you? I don't even put cheese on a hamburger. I don't want to spoil it with stuff. I'll ketchup on it if I'm out, and if I'm at home, I'll have barbecue sauce on my burger. That's it. And
I had A1.
I mean, that's okay. I never did like A1, but I did develop a taste for Heinz 57.
Or Heinz 57,
But the
because
problem is I only like it on pork chops, and I don't. Since my grandma died, I don't have pork. I haven't had some since my grandma would make. So, and Alice and the Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
what was that commercial from years ago? They said, what is hamburger? It's not chopped chicken, it's chopped steak, so.
Yeah.
But it goes good on steak. A1 and Heinz 57.
Yeah, it was Ronnie Shell. I remember that.
Was that Mel from Mel's Diner?
No, Ronnie Shell. He was that goofy bald guy who was on like every show back in the '60s, kind of high voiced.
I kind of remember him.
Yeah.
Well, he ended up doing the 57 sauce. Eventually, it was Mel that started doing their commercials.
But the one your one I think was A1. That was Ronnie Shell doing A1.
Yeah.
And he said, "What is hamburger? Chopped ham? No, it's chopped steak. Well, it's chopped whatever the fuck they can find. But there's still, oops, I said. Hopefully, we won't get rate limited. 4 minutes in.
Well, we're not monetized. Oh, they could. They not like they do. They don't do us any favors in the algorithm anyway.
That's true. Well, we all know Al Gore had no rhythm. Oh, here we go. There's the fireman.
Yeah, but he can play a mean saxophone. No, that was the
The other one
Clinton,
That was his running mate.
brother.
Yeah,
thing.
Billy Carter.
That's right. He had the beer. You had the Billy beer.
Billy Beer.
Was Billy Carter a midget too, like
No.
his brother?
I'm thinking of Billy
His brother
Barty.
was dummy?
I'm thinking of Billy Barty. Billy Barty, who in the movie Gold Diggers of 1933 played a horny baby.
All right.
Oh, that's weird.
Finsta. Oh, Finsta, baby.
was pretty much kind of like that.
You know, those things scarred. Well, I won't say they scarred our minds. It was good entertainment.
Oh, yeah. But it was so funny. It was on the Vortex a couple of weeks ago. They had this pirate movie on, and it was Captain Bligh. No, it was Captain. What the fuck was his name? Bluebeard or some shit. And it was played by the Hassenpfeffer guy. Where's my lunch? Where's my dinner? That guy. And all through the whole thing in the chat, I'm saying, I wonder if he's gotten his Hassenpfeffer yet.
Well, anyway, I think we were all almost speechless seeing Putt.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm actually very excited to see him here.
We were all, but Tony and I were shocked.
I'll tell some horror stories later about the hospital and things I saw and stuff. But overall, it was a terrible experience.
Oh, yeah.
I was there for
Hospitals where all the sick people are at.
Yeah.
And I've yet to hear anybody say, oh, yeah, I was in the hospital for a while. It was a wonderful experience.
We met some new cute nurses, but that was very frequently.
Women?
Yeah.
Mostly.
Well, my mom was a nurse, so I don't really have like nurse fantasies. Although, yeah,
I bet you wanted to no, that's gross. Even when you're little
yeah,
better
not.
I don't remember that stuff from when I was that. I remember being in the tub with my mom when I was a little baby. That's about it. And I remember squirting things against the ceiling.
Huh, there you go.
So do I, but I was a lot older.
See, Steve's missing all this. Because we always talk about, I Dream of Jeannie versus Bewitched.
Darren's in chat. Hey, Darren. So he's not having much luck with Zoom, but it's good to see everyone. Did I get a bad link or something?
Well,
Can you throw the link in the?
it's not going to let me. Well, actually, it might if I do it over on the other thingamabob. Let's see. Copy invite link. And go over to the live streaming thing, and then because I can do it as, hey, Lewis.
Hey, Lewis.
Paste.
Hey, Lewis, thanks for all the prayers.
Lewis offered you body parts if you need.
I know he did. And liver, kidneys, all that. I
He
appreciate
said the
that.
link is okay. Well, we hope you can join us again. If not,
Yeah.
Says he sucks at computers.
Nobody younger than me is allowed to be a computer boomer.
I think Darren and Gosh and Bud are all the same age.
Yep,
Born on the same day.
that's what I mean. I'm an old fucker.
Within a month and a half of each other.
Here we go. Hey, Darren.
Hey, darn, turn your video camera on.
Well, you might not want to. He's a little shy about exposing himself publicly.
Well, after all those charges he collected, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Now, so we just need to get Whitaker on here. Dang, would have the crew.
I've got him on Facebook.
Yeah.
I tried to get in contact with him. We see you here, Darren, but we just don't hear you yet. We'll let you figure it out. Whitaker changed. We've talked about that before.
Oh, yeah.
I'm disappointed. I think that he worked on those boats for so long in the Navy, painting them over and over again. That
Oh,
bright,
yeah.
it was bright.
Let's see.
He wasn't
Audio mixer
because-
on.
I mean, Darren could probably concur.
Same audio.
Whitaker was like a young Steve Martin.
Audio is filters. No filters in the running. Any filters?
I think I'm here.
Hey,
There
Darren,
you
You
are.
are.
Here you are.
Yay.
Hello.
You darn.
Hello there.
Nice to meet you, Darren.
It's good to meet you.
Yeah, we've been wanting you on here for what, 5 years now?
Yeah. I'm shy.
I mean, hell, they even got me on here.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, yeah.
Good. Can you pass me a Pepsi?
Which one? I got a Pepsi Crystal. I got Diet Pepsi. I got Pepsi Dino. Yeah, a couple there.
You don't? Yeah, mine's Pepsi Max. Although they cheated. They got rid of it and then just turned zero sugar Pepsi and used the same can to make you think you're still getting the caffeine and ginseng.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
So we're trying to.
Well, the only one that's not down here in the southeast anymore is Tony. Tony is like on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
It's hard to get Tony to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look who he works with. You know, I'm okay. I'll give him a pass. So.
Oh boy, yeah. And every so often I got to help her with the microphones with all the only action I get these days.
Yeah, Tony's a producer director for a shopping network. What?
Yeah, I mean,
And cameraman.
and
All about the side.
I'm the most highly skilled, practically homeless bum you'll ever meet.
Yeah. So, shit.
What?
I don't know.
So, Darn, what have you been up to these past 5 years?
Yeah.
I've been working on my house, getting it perfect so that I can sell it for about $1.
Ah.
Right on.
Yeah. So that's what I was actually painting trim on the ceilings when Tim called me a little bit ago.
So you can
That's
sell it
funny,
to
I
somebody
was
who's going
gonna
to paint it
paint my
all different
floor.
colors anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't sell my house in Colorado for bottom dollar, but it was mediocre dollar. You know.
Ah.
So.
So this is what you can do if you're shy. Just disguise yourself like this.
There you go.
How do you do that?
I'll show you.
Well, that's a program that probably takes about 3 weeks to fix this.
I almost used your enterprise, Darren, and I'm like, well, this enterprise doesn't have 2 eyes, so I ended up making my own. But
I glanced around just seeing how I could edit an image, but it's not like I said. I'm not good at computers.
Are you on like a desktop or a laptop?
I'm on my work laptop. I'm on
Okay.
deployment support tonight, so.
Okay. Yeah, bottom. There's a toolbar at the bottom. If you look at the bottom all the way left, there's a little thing that says video.
Okay.
And there is. Trust me. I mean, don't tell me there ain't.
Oh, the other left.
Yeah. I got Timmy here to tell me I'm full of shit every time I say anything whatsoever. So he's got that part covered. Okay. And then there's a kind of a goofy looking, I guess it's a camera icon, and there's a little, and you can adjust background effects and stuff on that.
Oh, okay. I can figure it out.
And you can, well, if you have like some pictures you can upload a picture just as like an avatar picture if you don't want to.
this is one I made last week, Darren.
Now, Steve's saying that we got a bad echo, and I'm looking at everything I can fit. I mean, it's not on Zoom. It just comes something through OBS, but I don't know.
Everybody fine.
Yeah. So it's got to be an OBS issue, but I don't know what the.
Steve's probably got his speakers and his mic turned on too close to each other.
No. I've noticed that on the shows previously. It acts like there's a huge amount of reverb, and I don't know why.
Hey, Clyde.
Yeah.
That's why I actually went to these.
Yeah, but you look stupid.
Yeah, I hate headphones. If I can avoid it, if at all possible. Oh, there we go.
The funny thing is, Darren looks just like that.
I was told when I started my old job that I looked like Wrecker. So this is my team's image I use at work.
Well, to be fair, these aren't. That is my real teeth, eyeballs, and hair.
I was told at my old job I looked like a Worf. I didn't know what to make of that.
Yeah.
What is Worf?
What's that?
Worf was the good-looking guy from Next Generation.
Yeah.
Real heartthrob.
All right. How does that sound, Steve? How does that sound?
He said make sure the two mics.
Yeah. That, not my first rodeo, but seeing how that, hopefully it cleared up a little bit. I don't know. If you guys could say something.
Hello. That's 1, 2.
All right.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Oh, damn it.
Oh shit! What?
What's up?
You dropped a fork.
Oh, don't drop the fork. Oh, Steve said that's better. Good. Thank you.
Why don't you come on in, Steve? Darren's here, my brother. It's
Yeah.
the first time he's ever been here.
Yeah,
The whole gang.
seems like old times.
Yeah.
Except you all aren't beating me up.
Well,
No.
we could do that.
Well, we just haven't gotten to that part yet, you know.
I know.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to show the home movies, the scratchy old home movies, because like Godshock's in some of them. I'm like, well, here's where they start beating me up. And
Yeah.
That wasn't that bad.
Well, this, I mean, I got.
They do look horrible. I see your green thing, not in that way. Darren's. I see I see your highlight green like you're talking, but I don't hear anything.
I'm probably just breathing.
Oh,
There we go.
okay. I hear you now. All right. Well, I'm gonna be my other self.
Ah, the Bigfoot rhinoceros dragon
Dinosaur,
thing.
but it has the background of our Saturdalia, our Land of the Lost Saturdalia.
I like how the guy's pissed off. He walks in right in front of the car, then he's the one who's pissed off. It's like, shit.
Are you mad about the new Land of the Lost series?
I have
Yeah.
zero hopes for it.
Well, it's like like they didn't do enough damage with the Will Ferrell shit, you know.
How do you know this one makes you turn out great?
Yeah.
What?
I said it might. I didn't say it will.
No, because they have to redo Land of the Lost because there weren't enough LGDP and different, whatever representative check boxes they got to do to destroy the original. But there was shit. Remember what I was gonna say?
Join the
Not the
club.
first time.
Join the club. It doesn't get better.
I did try to hide my own Easter eggs this year. It works.
And then you couldn't find them.
No, there's still. I hit with a lawnmower once in a while.
Every now and then he walks around somewhere like something rotten over here.
We don't. What is this? 1952. We don't hide real eggs. We hide the plastic ones with candy in them.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. What good is it for a kid to gather a real rotten egg?
Well, they're hard boiled. They don't just put raw eggs.
Hard boiled eggs taste. They smell like a. Never mind.
Some people actually enjoy them. My dad was into the 3-minute egg BS. He actually even had a little ceramic thing that you put on the table, and it would sit the egg on there, and then you would bash in the top of the eggshell, and then eat the. Jesus, one egg, and he would have like, come on. See, I don't like meals that are too much work. You end up burning more calories fooling around with them than you actually get from the food.
Yeah.
Well, that's burning what? That's burning fat. I mean, when you burn more calories, trying to eat than you actually get consumed.
Yeah, that's called. That's
I tried an. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead, please.
I tried an ice cream diet because I thought maybe it'd lower your body temperature and you have to burn calories to get back up to your normal temperature. Turns out I just got fat.
Yeah, because food calories are actually kilocalories, right? 1,000 calories. So you have to, the calculations get kind of thrown off.
I think it's been about 3 years since I've had ice cream. I got this Blue Bunny cheesecake ice cream, and it looked gross. I didn't want to buy it because it's like, this just looks like poison. One day I just decided, you know what, I'm going to try that. And oh my gosh, it tasted like cheesecake that was frozen. I mean, it tasted like they'd frozen a strawberry covered cheesecake and put it in there. It was so good that I never had ice cream again. I'm like, it was like too sinful. I'm like going to hell if I have another one of those. It was too good.
Listen to Timmy talk here. I'm not quite sure he eats anymore, period, so.
To what?
I said, listening to, you don't eat vegetables, you don't eat this, are you sure you even eat anymore, period,
I do eat.
All right.
But I brush my teeth at 6 o'clock, so
You talked about this, yes.
yeah.
But there's this group of people, they call themselves breatharians. They just breathe air, they don't eat. I'm like, bullshit.
Just after 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
I found it made a difference, a big difference, for a short period of time. And like the thing I said is, you don't even notice after a while because you will get like a little urge, like ooh, I'd like to have a burrito, but it's like then I brush my teeth and floss right now, and then the urge is gone like 2 seconds later, and then you're back doing whatever you're doing, as long as you're doing something interesting. Like jerking off.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. But the doing something interesting part, that's always, like, if I get into something, then I don't feel like eating or doing anything else, but then what is there? You can only watch so many podcasts.
I've experienced my first writer's block now after finishing the film.
Well, the best time to have it is after it's all done.
It was pretty much that thing we were talking about for Transferama. I had to put it on the back burner, Tony, because I'm still not inspired with that thing.
That's cool. You always gotta.
But you know what?
You gotta listen to your muse. Just.
Yeah, I didn't cancel it. In fact, I even made the Tracy thing in 3D already. But I'm just like, the problem is I've got all these Transferama fans that are so vocal about. They're like, I want to see, something other than a girl, or there's something other than a car. And it's like, well, the ones I have are girl and car, and the and the other ones have like Judy, and I'm trying to get her to. I need to do more dialogue for her before I do more. So it's just like I'm kind of stuck. Oh yeah, Darren, little Judy's the Transferama star now.
Oh, cool.
You know how she loves to ham it up.
Yeah.
There we go.
When are you off to Missouri, there, Timmy?
July the 26th. As soon as I can find a house sitter. It's like I get house sitters from my church that are like, the kids of the priests and stuff. And then she's like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be able to do it, but let me just check my calendar. 4 days later, hey, just following up. 2 days later is the day, so figure it out. I hate taking them to Pet Paradise because it's very expensive.
Yeah.
Like $1,000 for do that.
Every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they get a bone-shaped swimming pool they can swim in and stuff. But it's a nice place. But Lucy, Captain likes it. He likes to mingle and meet all the other dogs. Lucy, not as much. But I had video of looking out the windows of the dogs in their play area, and I filmed it. And I'm like, "There's Captain and there's Lucy, and they're just running around." And Captain wades through part of the pool, and they're just and people are just like commenting, thinking, "What? They didn't do that? The dogs? They're just getting along together?" I'm like, yeah. Go by any kennel that's like on the side of the road, and you'll see them all out. They just do their thing.
Yeah.
Have fun.
No, you coughing from the soup.
The dogs are pack They're pack animals.
Yeah.
Hanging out.
These are good.
You want to take your plate out of the way, or do you still need your chicken?
I was going to eat it, but I got nothing to put on it.
What do you mean?
No sauce in it.
Oh,
I know we got,
Are you eating or choking your chicken?
we got Italian, we got an Italian sauce in there.
Oh boy.
You guys don't know what it's like to have real food after you have been have nothing to eat for. I mean, they've had. You see,
I like teriyaki.
is it
It's good.
okay?
It's
Yeah,
sweet.
eating Jello for the past couple of weeks.
What was Jen jealous?
Jello.
I said eating Jello for the past couple of weeks.
A lot of times I was.
Yeah. Well, that's got protein in it, you know. It's made out of horse something.
Is it really made out of horse nose?
Oh, okay.
Is that a wives' tail?
No, I think it's the just boiled bones. Probably not
Yeah.
horses. Probably cows, but pigs. I don't know. Could be horses.
Could be horse. Horse meat used to be a lot more common.
Pigs are
horses. Not
pigs. Everybody would be eating Jello because it tastes like bacon.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think of it. There was a nail in my Jello once.
Yeah.
Remember Jello pudding pops? Weren't those pretty good?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the strawberry pudding pop. Sorry.
Good old Bill Cosby.
Hey, Fat Albert, what you got in your mouth? I got pudding pop. Did you just eat all the pudding pops, Fat Albert? Why are you tasting? I guess I can't taste it right out of the fat in their mouth.
You really.
Thank you.
Now, if you guys remember, a couple of weeks ago, I bought a new book, for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's this new book?
You got to kind of
It's,
hold it in front of your, or like under your face. There you go. Dynamite is made from peanuts.
It says, today I learned dynamite is made from peanuts and over 300 strange but true facts you probably didn't know.
Ah,
Cool.
Tony knows a lot, so,
yeah.
I learned not too long ago that dynamite and TNT are two different things.
Yep.
Roadrunner had me thinking they were just one's in a box and one's in a barrel.
Well, we get coyotes out here, so what I do is I always make sure to have an Acme catalog with me, so I could just, if the coyote comes along, you just give him one just to distract him.
Well, when I'm in Arizona with, visiting family out there, we see a lot of roadrunners, so, it's the other way around.
Oh, so you really see Roadrunners?
Yes.
I got a baseball cap in there that.
But a coyote can actually run faster than a roadrunner.
Yeah.
But can a Roadrunner go beep beep? Like that? Do they do that?
Well, only if
I never
it's...
heard of
Well, do they start out in slow motion?
Yeah. I try to catch them, but they always end up outwitting me.
There you go.
There are rules for that. I heard recently that there were just a whole long list of rules for coyote versus roadrunner. Like roadrunner wasn't allowed to hurt coyote other than me being at him.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of learned because somebody broke the fourth wall in the Looney Tunes. That stuff was all. It seemed like it was rehearsed, and it was they were putting on a show for us because Bugs Bunny had said that the Roadrunner strained a giblet going out a turn, and he had to take his place. Remember that? I think that might have been my favorite Bugs Bunny. It was my favorite. I think it was Bugs and Coyote. It was the one where he had the big electromagnet
Oh, okay.
that was zapping in the satellites and the rockets and everything. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
and things kept flying through the air and whacking,
Yeah, I love that.
periodically through the show.
Well, mine was the one...
because it sounded like a tornado siren. An air raid siren, and it reminded me of Kansas City when we had to go in the basement.
But do you remember the one where he had these little sticks of dynamite with wings on them, and he launched a whole shit ton of them at the beginning of the cartoon, and all throughout the cartoon they'd be like one would come and fly up his rear end or something like that.
Yeah, blow him up.
And the best part about it, spoilers, is at the very end he's like he fell off something. He's in a hole that blew up, and he's got his head out, and these two of the winged rockets go one by each side of his head. He basically wraps his ears around his eyes, knowing he's going to floofy, and they just put up a flag that says the end, and then he starts laughing.
Yeah.
Even he deserved a break.
Wasn't there another one too where you like had bees at the very beginning, and then all through the cartoon the bees kept showing up and singing?
I've been the same.
I don't remember that, but I remember there was something about World War One and Yosemite Sam, like being a red baron, and he's like, what? And he even spelled my name with a small B. And he's like, P.S. There's a big B in the envelope. He opens it up, and a bee comes up.
Oh, okay. How did Yosemite Sam see out of the plane though? He's not that tall.
He was standing up on a phone book inside.
Yeah, standing on the seat there and just
Pilot seat.
yeah.
Anyways, what were you saying, Darn? Go.
Oh, I was going to say maybe he's just all torso with short legs.
Yeah, there you go. It's hard to get the rudder pedals though when you're doing that.
Yeah.
Like Clancy, my mom had a dog named Clancy that had a beautiful German Shepherd head and body, and his tiny little like dachshund legs.
Like maybe like a cross with a corgi or something like that.
Something like that. She also had a cat that I don't remember its name, but Kendra
Neither
named
did the
Clarence, which I thought was hilarious. And to me, it's always been Clarence, and I don't even remember what that thing was even called originally.
I mean, cats don't know their own name anyway. It's just like cat.
I got to thinking today, I don't like cats at all, but I will give them one thing. Is if you're like in a place like a small shop and there's a cat that's like part of the owner like has the cat, they always just kind of come up and say hi. They're so pleasant and say hi to you,
Oh yeah.
like only a cat can do. And I do appreciate that. I've never had one, but
Or you walk into places with dogs and they start growling at you and shit.
yeah, dogs. And it's funny because dogs are actually the true friend, but they're the ones that are more standoffish.
Yeah, they're
Not always. I mean, if
protected.
you're walking down the beach or at a car show and there's a dog, they'll always want to come up.
Now, are you guys like me? When you see a dog, like when you're walking down the sidewalk and you see a dog, do you feel compelled to describe the dog to the dog? It's like I was walking by and there was like Great Dane kind of sitting back and I said, "Wow, you're a tall boy, aren't you?" And then somebody else has got like one of those chow chows that's just nothing but wool. It's like, "Oh boy, you're a woolly fella, aren't you?" And it's like he doesn't know or he needs it explained to.
I've never thought about that, Tony. That's interesting.
You go like there's a little girl. It's like, well, you're a fat little girl, aren't you? No, that's not nice. You're a fuzzy little girl. That's not nice either. Well, aren't you a redheaded little girl? But that's better. See, they can't be offended by that.
Aren't you a disgusting child?
Oh, Darren, I answered you. As far as that avatars, I'll let you know. It's kind of complicated. It involves several programs.
Yeah,
Oh, no, I was mostly just wondering how to put my Riker picture up.
yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
He doesn't need to talk or anything.
No.
That's one of my main gigs is
Well, and I can understand it. The rest of us are such friggin' male models.
Yeah.
Yes, we almost got the calendar thing going on in here now. So.
And when I get a swimsuit,
Yeah, there you
I'll join.
Yeah. Well, we want people to buy the calendar, so I won't be putting on a swimsuit.
go. And I ride a bike to work every day, but I do not have any spandex shorts. Oh my God. Oh boy. Yeah, I was chuckling when Timmy was describing what I do because it sounds so important and all that crap. And I haven't had a car in 5 years because I can't afford one. I ride a bicycle to work. It's like, okay, fancy job title.
hey, you know, at least you're in showbiz.
That's true. That's like the guy shoveling crap behind the elephants. You know what? And leave show business.
And not only that, but they made a reality show called Goodbye Girls, like B-Y Girls. And it was basically like these two cute women that were like Ethel and Lucy, and they try out a new product and like a bubble bath, and they screw it up and flood their bathroom with bubbles, and then have wet T-shirts and stuff. And not Gus, but Tony was in it.
Yeah.
Didn't he do a rap song or something in it?
Yeah, that happened. But they had plush toys that were the internal organs. It's like you teach kids about, the heart and the lungs and the spleen and all that other crap. And the one and what's this one? This is the prostate gland. And that, whoa, what's that do? He figured that out by now.
It involves a different toy. So,
Pop used to just draw it.
What?
I said you used to just draw the prostate and stuff,
Yeah, draw them and leave them alone.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what a prostate gland is, I'm sorry for you.
Yeah.
But I got 99 problems and a prostate ain't one of them.
Oh, you got
You know why that is? The prostate's job, it produces trouble.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like somebody was saying on a podcast, of things that have no value. It was like mosquitoes. Like scientists have actually studied and determined and figured out that mosquitoes could disappear off the planet and it wouldn't affect the ecosystem at all.
That'd be fun. And you know what? Because I built a set of monkey bars out back. So I went out to the monkey bars about an hour and 2 hours ago. And I'm hanging on, doing some like reverse push-ups, and I got to about 10 of them. Like I started getting covered with mosquitoes. And I'm like, okay, so I need to go re-treat the area with this thing I've got, like you hook onto the hose and spray poison. So I had to go all the way to the front yard and grab that hose, disconnect it, and I went through all this stuff, and I've got everything hooked up, and the damn hose where I had a link, the clamp broke.
Oh.
And the hose came apart. So there goes that, and I just want to say the only good thing about Amazon is this could be maybe the first week of my life where I don't have to leave the house. And it's because I ordered a new hose on Amazon. So it's just like, I don't have to go to Lowe's.
I borrowed a pressure washer from a friend. Kiana was carrying it down the stairs, and it had a thermal relief valve sticking out of the very bottom of it, about an inch from the ground. So apparently those things are designed to carry around on flat concrete and roll them around, but they're not designed for stairs. So I busted it. So I managed to figure out the part. Got on Amazon too.
What I love is going to a Home Depot and then having to explain what you need to an employee there, and they don't know anything about anything. You have to explain the whole thing. Now this is a hinge. This does this. It has a pin and it has.
Well, it's because Home Depot, when they will literally, and I've talked to people that work there, they will get a guy who's a retired plumber and put him in the electric aisle.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I've actually talked to them that they did that. So
No,
I don't think Home Depot. I go to Lowe's.
My experience at either place is you go in there and explain the part you're looking for, like Tony says, and they get excited. Oh yeah, it's over here. And they take you and they show you, and you go, "That's not at all close to what I need." So.
Yeah, when a step ladder, he took me to the hand washing rags.
Yeah, there you go.
I had to replace a sprinkler valve on the side of the house, and I cut off the pipe, and because you couldn't unscrew it. Just because it was a T, so you couldn't turn it. So anyway, I cut the copper pipe, and unscrewed it all and brought it in, and said, I need this valve. And the guy at Lowe's was helping me. He said, all right, well, here's the valve. But for $20, this is the guts of it. A kit that'll fix it. So, and then he walked me through how to sweat the pipes together because it's been 20 years, and I wasn't sure I remembered it.
Yeah.
So I went back, did it, all worked perfectly, no leaks, turned on my main water, and it busted my whole house filter in the basement.
Oh, nice.
Started spraying water everywhere. It was awesome.
Nice.
Oh, that's why you put the whole house filter outside.
Yeah, it was already there.
That was one of the. I had got a whole house filter for this place. It was almost $700. Had to because I got a shallow well.
Oh, yeah.
It puts iron in everything. I mean,
Well, it's good for you.
Everything was red. The toilets, the sinks, and that stuff, it tastes nasty. So, I mean, I kind of had to do that.
Yeah, we got a whole house filtration system outside on the side of the house too.
Did it come when you bought it, or did you have to pay out the for it?
Yeah, we paid out the yin to have it added to the.
It's worth it. I mean, the water tastes like candy. It's good,
Yeah.
but goodness, it's a lot of money.
So I guess you don't get hard freezes there in where you're. I guess Florida you don't really, because if you're up north, you would have to have that stuff enclosed somehow.
Well, we depends what you say about hard freeze. We do get, I would say we get hard freezes. Just got to keep the water going.
Yeah.
Got to turn on all the spigots on and the sinks on. I do that if it's going to be like 28 or lower. I'll turn all the stuff on all night, and I'll put a kind of a lamp, like a hot lamp, and cover up my well pump.
Oh, okay.
I'm probably doing more than I need to do, but it's
You probably do. I mean, when I say hard freeze, I'm talking about getting down to like 0 Fahrenheit. I mean, really.
Yeah, I don't think 28 you have to worry about.
Because I
Unless
did
it's gonna
that.
be
That
28
was the lowest temperature I ever ran into in Southern California. It was one year. It was out in the West San Fernando Valley, and there it gets hotter in summer and colder in winter because there's a mountain range between you and the ocean, because the ocean tends to moderate the temperature. In one day, one winter, the forecast was going to get down to 28 degrees. So I went and got some antifreeze for the car.
That's pretty nice. Well, I do know that. Is he wearing pants?
Yes, I'm wearing pants.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I just noticed that. I don't know what I was even going to say. You
antifreeze?
threw me off with that. Well, when I lived in Jacksonville, there was I guess it might have gotten the low 20s, and I mean, rumor had it that people's pipes are bursting all over the damn place. That they had their pipes in the slabs.
Oh.
Which sucks. That happened in my mom's house. A pipe burst in the slab, and I had to have jackhammers, and it was horrible.
Man.
At least this place here, if it happens, at least I've got a crawl space.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm wearing my khakis.
Oh my God,
okay.
Cargo shorts.
I got the decent dudes.
Yeah, okay. I just got regular chino shorts. But that's what always gets me. You do stuff, a house is constructed in a way you would never be able to get away with that in a car. Could you imagine having a car and you needed to fix some wiring or maybe replace a fuel hose? So you would have to cut the car body open, replace the part, and then weld it back together, bondo it up, and repaint the car? Nobody would stand for that. But with a house, everybody does it. Oh yeah, you just got to tear the shit out of the wall and everything, and then plaster everything up afterward.
Well, I had a plumber who was fixing my tub, and he cut a hole in my closet wall to get to the tub, and he put a plastic thing with a door. He said there, and I think every house should have that.
Yeah,
it's like and that way, if any maintenance needs to be done on that, you just pull that thing off, and it's fine. No closet, nobody notices. And I don't know what I was going to say.
I don't know either. Something about you and the plumber then took a bath together.
Yeah, there you go.
No, that wasn't.
That's how he broke the tub in the first place.
Yeah.
No, you know how I broke the tub? It's I had a big water bottle that went to the dog dish. And I put it upside down the dog dish, and I was filling it up in the tub, but the water I dropped it, and it hit it hit the tub nozzle, and then all of a sudden I heard. I'm like, oh shit! I didn't know a plumber, so I'm looking up the internet yellow pages, and I found something called Katie's Plumbing. And I called up, and I said, hey, I've got a kind of a water emergency. My pipe broke in my tub. And he was this very cockney older Englishman. And he's like, oh, well, I'm watching a football game at night right now. Which would be soccer or whatever. But so how big is the emergency? Can you turn the water off at the house? Can I wait till my football game's over? Like, yeah, sure. And this guy was good. He was very cheap, reasonable.
Why am I picturing Henry T. Pipe? Why am I
What?
picturing Henry T. Pipe?
Kind of was kind of like he was like, almost more like Keith. No, Keith Fellows, I think. But yeah, he named the company after his granddaughter or his daughter Katie or something. It was funny. I haven't been able to get a hold of him. He's kind of like you guys. We try to get a hold of you and then you're just gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was
Probably got-
for what he for what it was worth. A couple of times he came over, he did a lot for like. I mean, he would come over here for 2 hours and do stuff and charge me like $100 or $200.
Oh,
You know?
man.
Yeah, it was really good.
Fair
guess-
play, mate.
What?
I said, fair play, mate.
Ah,
Yeah. Hope he's all right.
He probably got deported.
there
He
you
probably
go.
did. Deported. He was in England and got deported back to England.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
I'm not playing the whole thing. I said, all right. What? Ooh.
I watched
Yeah,
the cabinet meeting today that was televised.
Ah.
And I came in on the second half, so I didn't see all the shitty stuff. But I saw the president in the cabinet giving the history behind all the different paintings and all the curtains. And it was pretty funny. He went on probably a half an hour talking about how we got each painting for the rooms and the story behind them. And to him, it was mostly about the frames.
Did he mention
It's
that
funny watching it. He was pretty funny, but I kind of missed the part about Epstein and stuff.
Oh,
so
okay.
I would have probably been pissed if I had saw that. I probably wouldn't have
Yeah.
watched the rest.
It's my understanding the painting is there just to cover holes where they're working on plumbing.
Yeah.
It could be. Could be. You know, in Greece, they don't even have plumbing.
Romans, they do. They got all kinds of plumbing, but it's all lead.
Well, that was so funny. Is Darren? I just mentioned Keith Fellows. He's an English musician that's in our radio circle. We don't have him on the show because their time difference is so different. But he accompanied us in our part of the Europe journey from several years ago. And as soon as we got into Athens, into the flat, Deborah Milstein, who kind of arranged everything, she was like, "Oh, by the way, if you do, you can't flush the toilet paper. You got to put it in the trash. It's the way that's the whole country because of plumbing." He's like, "What? The Greeks are the founder of civilization. You can't flush the toilet paper with a bow." It's just started going on. I'll never forget that. So whenever Europeans say that we're stupid because we don't have enough train transit systems and this and that, like, yeah, well, you can't even flush your toilet paper, so shut up.
That's right.
Yeah.
They better shut up or I'm gonna shit right on your train,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
there you go.
And then there,
No,
Shit off the train or something. Throw your
Well,
shit off.
they can't use the trains either anymore. I mean, jeez. Anyhow.
What's
Yeah,
that
you're
behind
there-
you, Gus? Scott, the
there-
Rocky Mountains. What is that?
That is an Imperial
Star
LeBaron.
Destroyer.
Oh.
I will give Colorado one thing that's kind of cool, and I didn't even notice it until I moved back out, 12 years ago. And Darren he would take me all the way over to the other side of Denver to go to like a Culver's. And when you're like in Northglen where we used to live, and I never noticed this, is there's this like hazy. It almost looked like the King Kong movie or something. There were these mountains that are just all jagged and with this haze, and it looks very surreal, very Tolkien-esque. And I never noticed it before.
no, they're gone now.
Oh, no, yeah, it's like what they put in a Walgreens.
Starbucks, yeah.
Yeah.
they actually moved. Actually, Timmy, they actually moved the mountains. I mean, they're gone now.
Yeah, they don't have any more.
Oh, Justin Hayward, who I used to idolize, he had an album called Moving Mountains, and I was like, "You're so stupid."
You can't push a mountain.
Yeah. So where'd that guy Steve Jarrett go? We could have had the whole gang here.
Probably out pushing mountains and then taking a shit and putting the toilet paper in the
There you go.
basket.
Because we got a yeah, we can slide one of you two guys over, and we still got a corner there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we got space for one person. Maybe I'll ask Thomas. Thomas was.
Yeah, he hates me, though.
He on his farm he dug out this quarry kind of. It's a pond, and so I went canoeing Saturday through his pond, and it was kind of neat. And they had this weird food, and I don't remember what I was going to say.
Canoeing and food.
What was
What
that?
was
What were
weird?
you saying right before the canoeing and the food?
Pushing mountains.
Ah,
Mountains. It was it couldn't have been mountains.
Star Destroyers.
Yeah, there you go.
That was before the mountains.
Thomas.
Thomas was after the mountains. See, we're getting there. We got a higher, lower.
who
higher.
on the mountain? Do-si-do.
Oh, food. The food.
Oh,
Boulders.
Yeah. You were talking about Steve burying his food. That's what it was. So this dog, this beautiful dog, he goes over to our buffet table there. It's so funny. He goes and he sneaks a piece of chicken, like a chicken leg, off the plate. Just sneaks it off. We're watching him, and he goes into the sand dune and digs a hole and buries it. That's it. Like the thing of it is, I don't know why they do that. I guess they save it for later. But if Darren remembers Kato and Lucky, they did that shit all the time, and they never remembered.
of course.
They just bury it, and then that would be it.
Yeah. Well, they
Maybe
have
they
the
just
instinct to
didn't
bury
like
it, but then they don't know why.
I guess so. Well, people, I think Captain, I love him to death, but he does things that are kind of dumb. Like he always gets tangled in his cable in the front yard around the carport, around different things, and I'll have to thread him out. Or he's got this habit. He loves to bark at the neighbors when they drive back and forth in the driveway. But when he's actually, so you got a picture. I've got a dog area that's fenced in, and out of that, I got the rest of the back of the property. Now, on the weekends, they get full reign of the back of the property when I'm back there on my swing. But when a car's going, he can be right there with me, where he could go right up against the fence of the car. Instead, he runs in and barks against the inner fence. Does that make any sense? Of course it doesn't. But it's okay, because there's aliens or these very intelligent species that are just like, you people down there, don't you know you could have cured cancer just by mixing, tree bark and Roman candle powder?
Yeah.
So we're kind of dumb too, just in a different way, is what I'm saying.
To serve man.
Yep. And the Kennemets.
I drove
Can
past.
you imagine it like go ahead, Tony.
Oh, I drove past this thing behind me back in the 70s, with a very dense fog, and all you could see was like the windows, that circular part. It just looked like it just landed there.
That's pretty cool. But could you imagine if there was like the most intelligent species in the universe finally visits us and they talk like hillbillies?
Yeah.
Oh, they do.
Tell you all exactly what you need to do to cure your cancer, but you all need to stop feeding the FDA and the CDC. You dig? They talk like, who was that? I think the two best senators are the best people in government right now are Tim Burchett and John Kennedy. We're both very deep South Southern, but they're just like so old school. And they're just fun to listen to. But
I
they
can't
don't
remember
have any sense.
I can't remember the name of the one, but the one from Louisiana's got pretty.
That's John Kennedy. He's the one.
Any
that
relation?
He reminds me of somebody you've seen in Bugs Bunny. He's like a caricature.
Yeah, he kicked Robert De Niro's ass today,
Ah,
Oh,
good.
did he?
or last night. Yeah, De Niro comes up and makes some snarky remark about Kennedy not being educated, and then Kennedy gets up there and goes through this whole speech about what being educated is really about. And he goes, it's about listening to the smaller people. He goes, staying up till 3 a.m. crying with somebody who's lost their son in Afghanistan, or sitting with an old man who's holding a book that he's real proud of, and it turns out to be Plato. And he'll tell you about his best parts that he likes, and he goes talking to them little people, and and learning the janitors' names, learning everybody's name, getting to know their story and all that. That's being educated. Because it's not showing off your knowledge; it's showing off your compassion, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think De Niro and Meathead,
Uh-huh.
Luke, Mark Hamill, those guys, they got so TDSy that they basically became jokes. Nobody takes them seriously.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And the worst part is I'm running out of things to watch.
Yeah.
It's like I got a collection of Schwarzenegger movies I used to love, and I'm like, I'm not boycotting them, but I doubt I'll ever want to watch them again.
Well, he didn't redeem himself over the "you don't deserve freedom" stuff, but he was on The View, and they put him on there for him to basically say that, because he was an immigrant, to say, oh, you need to, and he's like, yes, immigrants are very, it's very important, but they're guests. They're guests in this country, and you've got to respect the country, and they should work very hard, and they should volunteer. And they one of those women actually started pushing his arm. Like, no, and Whoopi was just like the next day going, oh no, he doesn't represent what we say, and he didn't do our talking points. So we give him a couple kudos for that,
Yeah, if you're a guest in somebody's house, you don't push it and flush the toilet paper.
Yeah.
Put it in the trash like a civilized person.
There you go.
Yeah, well, do you remember we would always see him on Thanksgiving when we'd have our dinners with Sadie and Grandma, and he'd come in and he would just walk in and he'd use our bathroom for like 10 minutes, and he'd come out like, don't go in there, and then he'd just leave.
Well, you got to do something,
Yeah. So my memories of Pud are like, warm holiday memories. I think I made all that up, but it's like, I made it up so many times that it's actually a real memory now.
That, my friend, is the definition of history.
That's the truth. But the shitter.
Bud would just walk into anybody's house. I mean, he'd walk into my house and my dad would be sitting there in his chair and go, hey, Bud, and walk by.
Shoot, I don't know. Darren probably doesn't remember this. I don't even remember the guy's name. It was when he lived in Heather Ridge in the mid-'70s, and Close Encounters had just been released. And Darren, my mom, and me were in there, and he had been in our bathroom. He says, you'll never believe it. I just reenacted Close Encounters in the toilet. And he started describing how there were two small ones and then this huge.
Oh, God, no.
It's just like we're just standing there kind of
Was this just some guy?
it was a friend of ours, friend of yours, friend,
Kid.
Friend of children.
Whatever.
Some random dude off the street. Yeah.
The bee, the priest. No, it was just one of our friends. I'll be right back, fellas. I'm gonna refill.
Okay.
I gotta figure out how to quit running out of coffee.
I haven't had a decent Thanksgiving in decades. My mom would come over and ruin all the ones that Katie and I would have, and then it just got worse. Well, I would live at my sister's house to do Thanksgiving, so I mean she did, but her idea was getting like KFC catered in. So that was their Thanksgiving.
My favorite Thanksgiving is, getting the Hungry Man extra for large,
There you go.
turkey and dressing and setting it down.
That makes me mad. Do you remember Mexican TV dinners?
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't sell them out here anymore.
Hey guys, Darren.
Yeah.
I want to introduce you to Captain. I've had him for 9 years.
Hello, Captain.
Hey, boy.
My Captain, buddy, he's a lifesaver.
Yeah, those Mexican TV dinners, they have like enchiladas and stuff like that.
Now you can buy like a little one for $5 a day, but it's not like the old TV dinners.
Well,
Yeah,
you don't have the aluminum
Spanish
anymore.
rice and-
You don't have the aluminum anymore because I guess they have to be microwavable now. So
And we got Lucy. There's Lucy.
here's
Oh my
Lucy.
gosh. She weighs over 100 pounds.
Ah.
And she's like, she's like trying to imitate like a squashed plum right now. Come here. There she is. That's my goose. Wave.
I'll take Timmy back to Beef O'Brady's for some macaroni and cheese.
Oh my
there you
gosh,
go.
I'll never forget that. It looks so good on the menu. It's like, it would have been better if they heated it up. That's all I can say.
Well, can't have everything. At least you're not going to the Hungry Hippo anymore.
Were you that? You were there, Darren. Weren't you at the Hungry Elephant?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Darren remembers that one.
Right. Yeah, they made the mistake of putting it right next to the elephant pen. So we're watching these elephants eat each other's shit, and then when they go to the restaurant called the Hungry Elephant.
Oh, that's delivery.
The turd popped out of his butt, and the other elephant caught it before he hit the ground. That was impressive. I wonder if the chefs in the Hungry Elephant do like food trips, like the Chinese chefs do or Japanese chefs.
Yeah, like a bunch of chefs, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to have a membership to the Denver Zoo. We used to go like every month, Yeah, is the Hungry Elephant still there?
Oh, hey, Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we said.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was gone.
No, I'm talking to Laura.
Oh.
Hi, Laura.
That's
Not only is Mark Toy here, but my bro is here. Darn.
Hello.
Actually, Laura, that's not Mark, but we actually have AI.
yeah.
Team great. Could you imagine him? Oh, that's disgusting.
AI.
Darren doesn't know why. Everyone else, I think AI is Satan.
Well, you saw that thing that I put in the little. In fact, I wonder if I could put that in there. The evolution of my social circle. 2022 is all these people.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, 2023, like, and then 24, and then say, so your social circle now is nothing but fucking AI. I said, and that they thought that was like a selling point. Like, boy, isn't this great?
You guys having trouble understanding someone is reverbing. Which one is it?
I don't know.
Tell Laura?
I fixed it. I did.
Let me pause. Mute.
Well, the problem is it's not happening in Zoom at all. Oh, of course. So the thing I thought I fixed, I didn't fix. Thank you.
There you go. Darren's got me one of those Mexican TV dinners now.
They don't exist anymore.
I know.
Oh, I like those things. I haven't had them in so long. No, I want to buy some.
It's okay. Out here in Florida, they don't know what Mexican food is. So
They don't enjoy it either. They have no idea.
God's Chuck, he recommended this place in
Mexicaneras.
in Arizona when I was on one of my company office trips. He goes, you got to get to this place. It's the best Mexican food in the world.
All right.
That's what my son told me.
Everybody pause for a
Let me
minute.
exaggerate to my story.
Everybody pause
No,
for a
but
second.
can you pause for a second? Just let me see. Mute that. And I'm going to bring this up. Okay, now tell me if that's better. Well, everybody,
Hey,
start talking.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
Yay.
Yay.
I am your new avatar.
Goody.
What are you doing?
So, Laura, how's that going? I guess there's always a little bit of a delay. But
This is my new avatar. I had it made last
the
week.
Bigfoot dinosaur.
I'll grow into my feet one day.
Yeah.
How do we sound now?
Crickets. No good? No joy? You're waiting. Hello, Daddy.
Don't you speak to everybody else?
So is it our feeds feeding through OBS?
I don't know. Oh, boy. Let me turn my volume down a little bit.
I don't have YouTube up, so I don't know.
Well, we wouldn't want it coming through anyway.
So all I know is
Alright.
since I've been here to Florida, I've just gotten used to Publix. I just go to Publix subs now.
Ah, there you go.
Really, because Publix to me
Knock
is
it
kind of
out.
expensive. I guess if you get a card, you might be okay. You got to get their deals.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I've been wanting to go to Florida. I've been planning it for a decade and trying to move, and that's not working. And all I want is to go to Florida, and then my ex-wife and all the grandkids. Oh, we're going to Florida for a baseball thing.
Oh,
So everybody's in Florida but me.
I think Michelle had last year. Her and I guess Kiana and a few people were they went to some baseball thing in Daytona,
Hmm.
and she said, "Oh, we'd love to see you. We can't go all the way up to Jacksonville, but maybe you can come down to see us." And I'm like, I don't live in Jacksonville. I live an hour north of Jacksonville, and I was doing a play at the time. So I could. That meant that. Yeah, that meant that I would have had to go when the play rehearsal was over, and I wouldn't have gotten to Daytona because that would have been like 4-hour drive or something.
Hmm.
I wouldn't have gotten there till like 9:30 or something like that.
Yeah, it's downhill though.
I know. Well, if she'd have said that, if she'd have said maybe we can meet halfway, St. Augustine, I might have been able to do it. But when I was doing that play, I just kind of, I hate doing plays.
Don't do them. That's why I quit.
Well, I kind of wanted them to. I can't say no when I get drafted, and then I like them to show my movies, and they,
Yeah.
they'll have a night for my apology movies and.
Now, see, I live in the middle of the state, and it's like 2 hours to anybody for me. So
Hmm.
Yeah, nice.
I don't understand. If you live in Florida, it's all about the coast. Why do you live in the place that gets no sea breeze and it's just in the middle of the thing?
that's where the wife got her awesome kick-ass job. So
Ah.
I just,
Weren't you saying recently that that's the best job you've ever had?
Yeah.
Well, you're retired from the Navy and the police chief, so why don't you? You're retired.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I was told I can't sit at home and do nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Laura says good now. That's good.
Oh, thanks, Laura. How bad was it? I mean, is like none of the stuff we did the last hour even usable kind of bad, or I think it echoes. Darren, what I do is the best stuff. I try to make these precious moment montages I put on our BabbleGab channel.
Cool.
They all get about 10 views a piece, but it's fun to do.
Yeah, I can travel about 2 hours south and visit Steve, travel 2 hours north, visit Timmy.
I could travel like 18,000 hours.
Yeah, just a straight shot, just
Yeah.
straight across Siphon.
If I would have known that our audio was bad, I would have just taken my desktop recorder and recorded this, and I could have synced up the audio But as long as we're okay now.
We can be funny now.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want us just to repeat the funny stuff?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, Steve was saying there was a problem, and then I played with it a little bit. He said it was better, and then Laura comes in and says it's all bad. So it's like it's in the eye of the ear of the beholder.
Well, Steve didn't follow up. He went back in to do whatever he does.
$5, same as in town.
Yeah, that's how he does it.
Yeah.
I told the wife we need to get it made. We do, because
Yeah.
I can't do anything anymore. And I said, but she's got to be a stripper.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to start there. She just laughed at me.
I think they have services that do that, though.
Yeah.
Well, they do. Yeah, topless maids and all that crap.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to pay for it, though. I mean, that's ridiculous.
There was a place in Colorado one time that had like bikini babes house cleaning or something. It was funny.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I can
back to the
imagine.
story about so Gottschalk had recommended this Mexican place.
Yeah.
And you got to try this place. It's the best place in the entire world, the best Mexican food you've ever had. So I'm exaggerating. No, he said his son recommended this place because it was new. It was so. Mascaderos. So it's this kind of slummy place, and we go in there, me and my coworker, and there were these witches at the counter stirring this cauldron. They had the witch hats and the makeup, and it was run by witches. And yeah, it was the weirdest thing.
And did they have sandwiches?
No, they turned me into a sandwich, but that's later in the story. No, I'm just kidding. No, so the food was that was kind of runny, and it was in styrofoam containers. It was kind of cheap, but it was good. I mean, it was good. It wasn't bad food. It was just more of a memory that there were these witches making our Mexican dinners, and they had like masks and things on the wall, like the theater masks and horror kind of things.
Oh, yeah.
Not the stinky latex mask, but it was an interesting concept. It wasn't really what I was looking for. I was really looking for like kind of a hole in the wall, sit down Mexican restaurant where you could just get a good Mexican dish, and I couldn't find anything like that. But I'm glad, no regrets, because if I'd have had that other thing, I wouldn't have remembered it.
Yeah.
Never forget Mascaderos.
There you go.
That was the last time you were in Phoenix, wasn't it?
I think it was because my company wasn't doing too good, and they didn't want to spring for us to be flown out for town hall meetings anymore. Which is okay with. I mean, I wish I don't like our company not doing good, but I don't miss traveling. I hated that. It was so weird. I worked with them for 5 years or more before my first office trip, where I had to stay there and actually work in the office for the week.
Well,
it was what I looked like. They all thought I was a cartoon car because that was my avatar.
Yeah.
Well, at least they invited you to Phoenix, and didn't invite everybody else in the company to Vegas for 2 weeks, and didn't invite you. So.
No, it wasn't Vegas. It was Hawaii.
Oh,
Hmm.
Hawaii.
Darren doesn't know this. They all took a company trip to Hawaii, and not only did they not invite me, but they didn't even tell me. They kept it as a secret. And Darren he's worked remote, so he can concur how that could happen. And I didn't know until after COVID, we had these happy hours every Friday where we would just Zoom together and do like we're doing now and just chit chat. And they all started showing their Hawaii pictures. Oh, this is me on the top of Diamond Head. And they're all their stories about climbing up Diamond Head. I'm like, what? This isn't cool. And the next week, they're still sharing stories and pictures. And I just didn't go back anymore. It's like, fuck you all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't make me happy. Still doesn't, really.
It pisses me off. That sucks.
Yeah.
We had
My last job was Office of Personnel Management, and that's when I knew I was starting to get really sick before my stroke. And anyway, that's a different story. But we always work from home, all of us, and so we have our Zoom meeting and every morning and do all this crap, and that was totally pointless. And then COVID hit, okay, but they just pretended like it never happened. So we're sitting there in this office, and a lot of people are just super stressed, and the Scrum team managers just acting like no big deal, none of that shit, and we're just like, okay, you got to be, shouldn't we at least take a week off or something just to recombobulate ourselves, and nope, they didn't do that. But I ended up leaving there. They were really nice people. I want to say that they were very good people, but it was, I was getting to the point where I knew I was starting not to be able to function. And I told them that, and they just gave me the same duties, even more. And by the end of that stint, I was so sick, I just couldn't even, I told Jen, she was taking me to work, I said, I can't do it. I just can't go in there. And she says, what's wrong? I said, I don't know, but my mind doesn't work anymore. like it never did. But I mean, it was like, a problem that would normally take me 10 minutes to solve was taking me days. And this was pre-stroke. And then I went on vacation, not vacation, but my middle stepson committed suicide. So we went out there for the funeral. And when I got back from the funeral is when the stroke hit. And I didn't know I was having a stroke, but she did. But that's a kind of a different tangent. And then it's been an uphill battle since then. And, at least I don't know. They didn't seem to follow up and ask about me. So I didn't say, fuck them. I'm not going to, help or anything like that. And yeah, I don't even know where I was going with this.
Well, Putt.
I think it had something to do with Mexican food.
I think it did.
Yeah.
Putt, tell us this. How are you doing? I've been touching base with Darren, and it's just been. It hasn't been good news, and we've been really worried about you. And it's been a very pleasant surprise to see you. And I guess we're all.
Well, I'm doing okay. I'm doing fair. I'm not happy with some of the things they wanted me to do, but it was touch and go for a few weeks. I don't remember those few weeks. I don't. Jennifer said I just wasn't there. I mean, I was there, but I wasn't.
We didn't think we'd see you again, Putt.
What's that?
We didn't think we'd see you again.
I didn't think I'd see us again either. At one point, Jen and I are both convinced I was done for. And anyway, we got over that. I'm still alive, but I've had some of the worst fucking nurses, basically doom and gloom. Worst case scenario, nurses come in and just kind of like read me the riot act. And I'm like, I'm doing everything I can, to follow your instructions and all that kind of stuff, but it just never seemed to be good enough for them. So they had me all fucked up in the head. Like, no matter what you do, you're going to die. You're going to accumulate ammonia and you're going to go into a coma and you won't wake up. I heard that a lot. And then all of a sudden, all my doctors were nephrologists, kidney doctors. And then all of a sudden, after meeting with these nephrologists, all of a sudden decided I needed to be put on dialysis. I've never had a kidney problem in my life. But they decided I need to do dialysis, because of my liver and my kidneys. But, I got to talk to my primary care physician tomorrow and see what's really the deal is.
Yeah.
And it's been an uphill battle. And how am I doing? I'm better now. Now that I'm out of the hospital, and I was there for almost a month, and they held me way longer than they needed to. Mm-hmm. And I finally started getting into arguments with them. He said, I've been here for so long. There's not much more you can do for me, and I don't want to be here. I don't want to be your patient. I don't want to be doing any of this. And I'm arguing with the doctor. And I said, this needs to end. Send me home, because I'm not going to recover here. Mm-hmm. And then they brought in, what if you went to a PT facility? I said, there's no way. I've been to a PT facility, and they're filthy. The last one I was in was the last when I had my stroke. And I'm sitting there, and they make me sit in this chair all day long, which hurts. Gets there where it really, really hurts. And I had to go to the bathroom, so I rang the bell. I said, I needed help getting to the bathroom. And basically, the tech was just like, well, if you have to, just go in your pants. And I'm like, I'm not doing this.
You go in your pants.
I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
So we left. We as soon as we were done. I mean, I refused to do any more with them. I only got to do 2 sessions of PT total in the gym. They had a little PT gym, and I had 1 shower the whole time, and that was enough for me. And they invited me when I was leaving the hospital this time. They tried to convince me to go back to the PT facility, and I said, "There's just no way." I said, "I've been there and done that, and you guys were terrible. I mean, this is not a game. It is to you guys, but it's not to me. It's my dignity. It's in a bunch of other stuff. And it's you wanting to collect insurance money is what it is." And I mean, by this time I was pretty red hot. But that was kind of the feeling I got from the whole thing. And for a while they had me pretty scared. but I got over that. I just decided I'm not giving up, and I can't afford. I'm not going to pass away. I may be the first living Borg in human history, but
It sounds fun.
oh, no, no.
No, not
I'm in
really.
pain all the time. I'm in really bad pain right now.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Laura says, yes, we missed you.
Ah,
And my old 60s rock and roll friend, one of my 60s rock idols, gave you a whole bunch of prayer icons.
well, I know the prayers helped because when dark times, I would, know that people were praying for me and all that. That really did
You've been on
help.
my prayer list at church for months now.
Well, tell them I still need more prayer, but I'm getting better, and can continue to need to get better. But even now, my muscles are so weak that I can't do what I used to do. I mean, it's just I don't know how you call it, but no, it was a really rough stay and it was a really rough time. But I am doing better. I'm going to be okay, I hope. And uh, I don't know. I saw some shit I shouldn't. I don't think I should have seen, but I did. And
View.
no, of me, yeah, really. I looked in the mirror. No, I saw what I can only describe as something made out of shadow. It was a girl with messy hair, and she looked disheveled. She looked American, and I was going down the hall into the dialysis room in the hospital, and this one weird looking guy just grinned at me. He had a red face. It looked like he'd been drinking so much alcohol and his face was red. He just looked at me and he was just smiling. And I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of nice. And then I look into this corner, and I look into the middle of the room, and there's a girl named Jade that I met there. And of course she was a Star Wars fan. I could just tell by her shape and the way the way she was, whatever, I could just tell, she thought she was Mara Jade or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, fine, whatever. You do you, honey. And then in the corner of this room, the very back corner, this is creepy. This is never going to leave me as long as I live. I saw something like that girl. I can only describe her as made out of pure shadow. There was nothing else to describe her with. There was a shadow behind her, there were shadows around her and all that, like normally you are in a corner, but she was herself a shadow. And it was pretty kind of terrifying after I started to process it because, I felt like I'd seen something I shouldn't have seen. And or maybe I should have seen it, but it was scary. I mean, it was frightening to see. I've seen ghosts in that hospital before when I was there with my stroke, but this thing, whatever it was just, in Tolkien's Lord of the Rings book, he describes the Balrog as a creature of shadow and flame. Okay, this was not a creature of shadow and flame. This was a creature of just shadow. That's the only way I could describe her.
So
And
in hindsight,
yeah,
if you could go back, would you talk to her?
no, I don't know if she could respond. I don't know what I don't want to. I would not want to talk to her. I don't want to see her again. I don't want that in my. It's going to stick with me what I saw for a long time, but I would have nothing to say to her, and I don't want to know how she died or if she was even dead or anything. It just made my flesh crawl, after I processed it a little
Laura
bit.
said, wow.
What's that?
Laura said, wow.
Okay. Yeah, Laura, that's how I felt. It was just a very unpleasant experience. And that's as close to death again as I want to be. I did flatline in the hospital at one
Yeah,
point.
that was one of your updates that scared us.
Yeah. They had me laying on the bed, and they started to inject me with this chemical for something. I don't know what it's for, but it's ATP. We have a thing in our body called the Krebs cycle, and it uses ATP and ADP and all that. It's how we generate our internal energy. Anyway, this serum was an ATP serum, adenosine triphosphate serum, and the nurse started to inject it into me, and I started to panic because it felt like somebody had put 700 pounds of weight plates on my chest. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't do anything else. And then finally, the stuff started to dissipate and I could breathe again and all that. And they're like, are you okay? Are you okay? I said, I think I am. But I went up and, and they had looked at the monitor and I'd flatlined. My heart had actually stopped when they were giving me that shit.
How did they start it again?
What's that?
How did they get you better again?
I just recovered from this, whatever that is they injected me from, and my heart restarted itself. And so and then I talked to a professor there. He wasn't I wouldn't call him a medical doctor, but I'd call him a medical professional. Because I described what happened to him, and he goes, "Oh yeah," he goes, "That's the ATP, part of your ATP cycle." He goes, "A lot of people think they're allergic to that stuff and they don't want it." He goes, "But nobody's allergic to it, or they'd be dead." And he goes, "What you probably felt was this," and he described it perfectly. He goes, "You couldn't breathe, you flatlined, and then slowly you started to come back." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, that's how it works." And I said, "Oh God," I said, "I don't want to go through it again. I don't, it was too scary and too painful." Very painful. And like everything else they did to me in that fucking place. And but I recovered from that. But it was very scary to flatline like that, to know your heart stopping and nothing you can do about it at first. And just the way it felt on your chest, it felt like weight on your chest. And they did that to me. And then another travesty they did to me is I was on dialysis and I wasn't peeing. You don't pee much when you're on dialysis. You drink plenty of fluid, but you don't pee a lot. You know what I mean?
Catheter or something?
Yeah. Well, you have your blood's recycling itself because of the catheter and the other things. And I got the catheter right here. It sticks out like a sore thumb. But so I wasn't peeing enough. And so these stupid 3 girls decided that my catheter wasn't working right. They had already put a catheter in my dick and everything. And that wasn't unpleasant, but it wasn't very painful. It just like was a matter of fact. I mean,
Were you numbed?
when they put it in, no. But then these girls decided to pull it out and try different other catheters trying to put them in. And that burned like hell because none of them knew.
Yeah, when they pulled mine out, I said, "Gosh, damn."
Well, I might have.
It's like, I'm surprised you didn't say something worse.
Well, I told them to stop finally. I told them, "You guys have no idea what you're doing. Get away from me. I'm not a science experiment," is what I told them. And I said, "You guys have no business doing this." And they finally stopped. They all backed off and stopped because I was in a lot of pain and I was screaming because they didn't know how to do it right. And they couldn't even get it in the hole or anything like that right without it burning like they'd set my nuts.
I don't know how you can get it in there without it excruciating pain. Just the thought of it.
Yeah, well, the first one was painful, very painful, but it was manageable. And then when they started screwing around with different size catheters because I wasn't peeing enough.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah, they kept doing it. They tried 3 different ones on me, and that made me scream.
But put you under for that stuff.
They should have, but they didn't. And then I come to after screaming at them and yelling at them, telling them to get the hell out of my room. They finally did. And then the doctor comes by, Dr. Buchanan, who's really cool. And I described briefly to her what happened. And she goes, "Well, you're not supposed to be peeing. You're on dialysis." She goes, you should be making a lot of urine, And I said, "Oh, it's good to know now, but you need to talk to those 3 because they just weren't happy with the amount of urine I was putting out." And because she was, "Well, you weren't supposed to be putting out hardly any. We were measuring it down to the drop, not to the, half gallon or whatever." And I'm like, it was just, that was agony that day.
That's awful, Pie. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That is just,
for what it's worth, I got a call from the TBS or something. They were wanting to use me in a show they're doing called Colonoscopy Stories.
oh boy.
Yeah, I haven't decided what to do with it yet. Sorry, I wanted to make it a little lighter because.
No, that's okay. There's no light side to this.
Yeah.
Well, I
I most wonder why I haven't seen a doctor since 1989.
So Kendra, my daughter, she just got her driver's license a couple months ago, and then immediately got in an accident and was banged up really bad. And I asked her if she went to the hospital, and she said, "No, I'm not going there, and I'm not spending that kind of money for all that stuff." And it's just interesting that my immediate reaction is, "Yeah, I agree."
Yeah.
No, they want you to do that. Yeah, well, yeah. No, when I tipped over on my bike back in the early part of the year, I wrenched my shoulder up pretty good, and 2 cops were actually behind me and saw me fall over, and they were helping me up. Oh, don't you want to go to the hospital? You want to go to the hospital? I said, no, you nuts.
You didn't tell us some cops helped you.
Yeah, I was lying in the middle of the street, and they had put their lights on so that people wouldn't run me over. Because I needed to be helped up because my shoulder had been, when you try to catch yourself when you're going down, and probably dinged up my rotator cuff or whatever.
Well, I'm glad you weren't hurting you worse.
Thanks. It's enough. I mean, it still bothers me. There's still a little catch point where if I lift my arm up, it goes, plunk.
I don't know.
I'm probably going to be living with that for the rest of my life. Yay.
Tell Tony that he broke his shoulder because he gets mad every time I say that.
No, because when you break something, then you isolate it, you don't exercise it, and you let it heal. So it's something else. It's something.
Shoulder, when you break your shoulder, you got to exercise the hell out of it.
Then it's a word. You need a different word. Did your doctor actually use the word break?
She used very serious fracture and showed me an X-ray of a big break. And there's nothing
in a bone.
You can't put your shoulder in a cast. All you can do is just keep working at it and go to PT, pain and torture.
Yeah.
And
I just do that myself. Whenever I think about it, I just
Yeah, it took me 3 weeks just to put on a pullover shirt because I had to put on a button-down shirt for like 3 weeks.
So would you have somebody come over and dress you, or?
No, I just had to put on a button-down shirt. 3 weeks. And when I finally put on a pullover tank top, I actually put it on Facebook. I just put on a tank top. And I don't think anyone knew what the hell I was talking about. They were like, yay! I didn't get the backstory.
No, I never had it that bad. I was always able to I would have to help my one arm, take one hand and move the other one up and then put the thing over. Although, when it's hot and sweaty, a button-up it's so much easier to get out of than a T-shirt. And it took me until after age 60 to fucking realize that.
What, Darren?
I never mentioned this, but just so you know, that made us all really uncomfortable, the phase between your button-up and your tank tops when you were wearing the tube tops.
Yeah.
That was an important. We didn't like that.
Well, you know what? They were comfortable because they were like this lycra kind of, not even lycra. What is it that they make stuff out of now? It's stretchy. It just felt good.
Spandex, I guess.
It wasn't spandex.
An ace bandage.
There's Gottschalk knows what we're talking about. He wears them. Yeah.
I don't know.
It just makes you feel loved. This material they've got nowadays.
Oh, and they make Spanx. They make the thing the chicks wear, that Spanx things that make their butts slightly smaller. They sell those for men too. It's a T-shirt and it squeezes your belly. Of course, in my case, it was beyond the capability of it.
Boy, I need that because I like to go to these car shows, pony stuff, and this person would have a drone. They'd come by and then they'd share pictures of the car show, and I'm thinking like, what is that? Is that like a fishing bobber? Oh, that's me! What the fuck?
Yeah, man, you look like a blimp these days.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I did the brushing my teeth at 6 o'clock thing, I'm
gonna start doing that at 7 o'clock.
Drones?
Do what?
Because of drones?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a photo drone, like a video drone, and wasn't that a movie?
Video drone. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but he would, and then he'd share it on Facebook or on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, there's my car, and I'm like, is that me? Oh, fuck. So I automatically the first thing
go make some more tang.
was to buy shorts that had belt loops where I could put a belt in my shorts. And then it was the diet thing.
That's why I gave up on dating.
I'm not fat, but I'm ill proportioned where it's like the belly, I'm like skinny with a big belly. It's not good.
Hi, Fidesco.
Hey, Fidesco.
Hey there.
Fidesco and Lewis are my African friends. They live in Liberia.
Hello.
And it's a rainy season there, so they're getting a lot of rain. We just got through with our rainy season last Our rainy season lasted like 2 years.
Yeah.
But I think they're fucking with the weather.
Yeah.
Could be.
I know they are.
They're trying to make it sunny.
Yes, they are, because of the whole climate change stuff. And then they had this disaster in Texas. And Tom Cruise, the senator? Ted Cruz.
Ted.
Yeah. Admittedly, I voted for him in the first primary when Trump was first running years and years ago. But it's like, no, he's like, no, it's this conspiracy YouTube theories that this is, and he's in Greece. When his state has a huge, crisis, he's out on vacation and stuff. So he's no longer in my good graces.
Yeah, wouldn't matter. Senators are notoriously bad swimmers.
Good. Hope they drown. All of them. And YouTube, that was a joke. I'm not saying anything funny.
As Salty says in Minecraft, they drown in Minecraft is what he always says.
Yeah, that's a standard thing.
Yeah.
Or in a book I'm writing.
I
took
took
love Minecraft. Did you watch the movie?
No, I don't do too much movies. Although Kiana, my daughter, when she was like 4, maybe 5, I took her to the Great Sand Dunes. And so we were playing around on the big sand dunes in southern Colorado, and storm cars started coming in with lightning. And I said, well, we need to get back to the car. We don't want to get hit by lightning. She said, well, if we do, we'll just respawn.
That reminded me of in the mid-90s when I had that Felony 1179 PlayStation game where you get points for causing carnage with your car. You go through Paris and Japan, these different things, and it was very well done. And Dare remembers this. There would be like these Paris outdoor cafes, and you just run through the cafe with your car and break all their umbrellas, and they're all running around. The people, they just all start scattering. Oh, there's fire! And they're all screaming and doing these different things. And I was so into that game that I remember leaving my guitar player Billy's house, and I almost purposely backed into a telephone pole with my Camaro because I was still in that mindset. I'm like, nope, can't do that. I can only imagine these kids that they just raised with these stupid video games, like shooting people and stuff.
Kids don't drive anymore, so that's good.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
No, I was at a Harley dealership about 10, 12 years ago, and I'm talking to one of the salesmen. He says, yeah, nobody is excited about getting their driver's license or anything anymore.
Well, did you hear Jaguar has lost 97% of their sales because of that stupid ad?
Yeah, I heard that.
Jaguar, they was it late last year? They came out with this ad that didn't show their car. All it showed was a bunch of rainbow freaks doing freak stuff.
And this was after Bud Light too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was after Bud Light. They should have known. And it's like, 2021 is a little ways back now, but they didn't get the memo. And they said that it was like the European sales orders were like in the thousands last year, and it was like 48 or not. It was just like in the double digits this year. And people are just selling all their Jaguars now. They're just selling them. They don't. It was like.
Well, see, the people, buying used ones would probably go on.
To make an ad like that. But
Yeah.
Do what?
I would have expected you to make an ad like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I just hadn't heard from you in a while, guys. Chuck, I wanted to hear from you again.
Well, I just went and took a break and came back, and you guys didn't even notice I was gone. Okay.
Well, we were listening to Putt's. We were listening to Putt's story, so we were all kind of quiet for a long
Well,
time.
that's kind of what I was wanting to tell, like Steve, and like Thomas. It's like they kind of don't hang around because they figure that they can't get a word in. It's like, well, if you don't say anything and you're multitasking and looking down the whole time, and then you maybe say something, you're not a part of the conversation and we don't realize it. We're not being rude. We're not ignoring you.
I'm just
Thomas-
enjoying the conversation.
Yeah.
Well, Thomas actually told me, he elaborated, and he said he was sorry. He said it wasn't even that. He just said he's just been so busy.
Okay, so he doesn't hate me.
He doesn't hate you.
Oh, okay, because I felt really
No,
bad
I
that
kinda
day. I
made
thought,
that
oh
up
my
about
God,
him.
I made this poor person, I've ruined his life.
No, it's complicated, but he
All
finally
right.
told me during our little camping trip. He says, "No, it's really not even that." He just said, "I'm so tired all the time because he works so hard on that farm." And he says sometimes he just can't come in because he's so tired. That's basically it. He says he likes you, Tony. He doesn't hate any of us.
All right.
So
Well, that's good to know now, but God, that was a rough 2 weeks.
Well, it's like me. I don't like any of you, but I've just come to terms with that.
Yeah.
You gotta adapt.
how long you been
What?
with us now? Like 4 years, Gotcha.
Since 22.
And Putt has been with us for probably 12 because this used to be Get Off of My Lawn
Yeah.
Yeah.
that I did when we lived in Colorado. It was just audio only, and Putt was part of this back then.
Yeah.
You okay, Putt?
I'm just scratching, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, scratch away. Just
I was gonna say, I've
don't
been-
put any more like dents in yourself.
I'm
It
trying
was
not
either the end of
Steve Jarrett would say he's itching, and
Yeah.
Tony would say, "No, you're scratching."
Well, it's kind of a regional thing. People say itch when they mean scratch.
no, that's not regional. That's just.
Some regions
I
are
don't have to
right.
think I'm yelling at him again.
Yeah, well, I'll send him the dictionary definition because yelling normally involves raising one's voice.
And
Just telling somebody they're full of shit in a normal voice is not yelling.
I know. Finesco says, "Hope we are doing great. It's always a pleasure. It's always a
Yeah.
pleasure being here." Yeah, it's funny what you said about yelling. It reminds me of a memory, not a pleasant one. I won't go into
That
it.
was a good story.
No, what was it? It was a trip I did with Gracie and Josh. It was like a road trip, probably from Colorado. And I got so, I don't remember what happened. But I ended up doing things her way and her way and her way. And it ended up just causing problem after problem after problem after problem. And she was nagging and nagging and I had enough of it. And I was going out of a gas station and going into the car, and she starts nagging again. I just said, "Shut up." So there was silence for like, 80 miles. And I start, and I'm finally starting to kind of lighten things up. "Oh, did you hear that on the radio?" And she won't stop. I'm like, "Okay, what's wrong?" And she says, "What wrong? You said shut up." I'm like,
And you did. It was wonderful.
I said it very firmly, "Shut up." I didn't yell it, but that was her memory of it, is what I'm saying. People remember things different as they are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
I only
especially
remember-
text, especially with text and emails.
And they hang on to those texts and emails and show them to you 15 years later.
Well, I'm just saying, like Darren, remember that thing where we signed like a quit claim deed to one of Dick's grandkids or something to get rid of that trailer?
Yeah.
It wasn't a big deal, and I think it was Beverly that emailed me, and I thought that she tore me a new one about it. And I'm just like, that was really that kind of hurt, because and then like a week or two later, I looked at her email again, thinking, and she's like, "Yeah, he's not a good person. You probably shouldn't do that." It was very actually polite. It wasn't mean at all. And of course, he wasn't really a good person, and he effed everything up. So I mean, she was right, but yeah, it's kind of like with texts. Sometimes you think that it's, or at least I look at the worst in everybody.
Yeah.
That's kind of part of it. It's like, did Beverly just tell me to fuck off? And like 2 weeks later, no, she didn't say that at all. She just said, beware of this guy. He's not good.
Yeah, it's all different perspectives. I just, for the whole time of the call, I've noticed that the YouTube video was out of sync a little bit with the when it's in Teams, and so I've been wondering, is it in the past or in the future that the YouTube is it ahead of us or behind us?
It's ahead of us. Well, they actually have a time travel feature in the.
Yeah, I just realized it's probably behind.
Yeah, watch us on Zoom, not YouTube.
By about
I
10
pause
seconds.
YouTube the first step every time we do these shows.
Yeah.
I just pause YouTube. Yeah. I look at the chat because the chat's live, but it doesn't take up latency and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, and I never really got into this, but ideally, you really need two monitors, and I've been, one monitor dude most of my computer life, but then somebody gave me this TV set of a 47-inch LG TV set, and I plugged it in as a second monitor on my computer, and it's like, oh my God, I can do this and I can do that. Oh my goodness.
Darren's got like 16 monitors on his desk. Don't you, Darren? Something like
I
that.
have 2 for work and then 1 for important stuff.
Oh, at work,
I've
it's
got-
insane.
I've got 4. I got 4. 1 for the cartoon, 2 for work, and 1 for pleasure. But then after work, I'll use that work monitor for my to look at the chat for YouTube. So I can do
yeah.
2 more.
And Laura, well, when you're on Zoom, you've got everybody else in front of you. I'm looking like it looks like the Brady Bunch, and so we can see real time. There's almost no delay, no lag. But then I look down here, then I've got my YouTube page up, and I can see the chat and all that stuff. What you could do also is open YouTube on your phone if you got your phone, and have the chat there, and you can kind of keep up with the chat that way, and just have the volume turned down.
I hate my phone.
I know. Look at these guys are blowing stuff up. I guess that's what they do in the military.
Yeah, they used to.
Now he's got his lunchbox.
Your mic's not turned on, Mark. You're talking, but I can't hear you.
Is it better?
That's good.
Yeah, there you go.
I was saying that's the military's job, not the guys from what do they call that show, where the 2 dudes would build stuff and blow it up.
60 minutes.
I can't remember.
Oh,
We got everything
Mythbusters? Mythbusters?
Yeah.
Yeah. They blow stuff up. And it's funny, when they blow stuff up, it's too fast for the camera. Because 24 frames per second, an explosion takes, 1/90 millionth of a second. So, in a movie, you have, and in real life, it's just, boop, it's gone.
Yes. When I was in the Army, we had real grenades. In the movie, when grenades blow up, it's like a big fireball, napalm and explosions. It's literally like a little,
Yep.
a little puff of smoke off the ground.
And you can't outrun it.
No.
Unless you're a road runner.
Meet.
Oh,
This is horrible.
Timmy's entered the darkness.
No, I fixed it.
Ah, okay. Yeah, we started the show as daytime, so I could see your backyard through the door there.
Yeah, that's the side yard that does. It's just the house filter.
It's kind of dark outside now. I mean, I can still kind of see, but it's kind of dark.
I've got my other lights. Maybe turn it off and not look like a ghost.
Well, Laura, you could watch on Zoom, but you'd have to join the show.
You haven't had Laura on here yet.
Yeah.
We need good. We're trying to audition fill-ins right now.
Well, we got to have everybody show up now. It's great. This is like, for a while it was just Timmy and me, and
Oh, it's horrible. When
it was horrible, man, because we got nothing in common. We don't talk about anything.
Well, we both like tail fins.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
we'll talk about tail fins for about 2 hours until
Oh,
someone
yeah.
shows up.
You're both on each end of I-10.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on opposite ends of I-10. And Laura last week, she said that she lacks the equipment, and I totally took it out of context. I was thinking that she wasn't one of the guys, but what she meant was she didn't have the webcam stuff, and I felt it was so stupid, but it was funny. It's on our timeline. We've got like an 8-hour timeline of Precious Moments right now.
Oh, cool. Forward to it.
No, completely jump track. What do you think about that move, Tony? In-N-Out Burgers moving their headquarters to Tennessee.
Well, they were going to move it because they originated right here, like within 3/4 of a mile of where I am right now. And their main buildings and stuff are all still there. And I thought they were going to move. They'd said before they were going to move from Irvine back up to here, the Baldwin Park. And now they're going to move to, Timbuktu or some crap. It's like...
How can you blame them?
Well, they're a California institution. It's like Disneyland picking up stakes and going to Dubuque or some damn place.
Your state doesn't want people there that are productive. They want to be the
I think they will eventually.
Huh?
I think they're finding out.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah, Colorado.
I had heard it. I just
number
heard
one
today.
for
I
the
didn't
money.
realize this. It was Reagan's fault.
Yep.
He offered amnesty to everybody that was there, and that basically changed the whole landscape of California because it used to be a red state.
Oh, yeah.
Now this will get Timmy fired up. Now see, I still miss Colorado as Colorado. I don't miss what Colorado has become.
Whatever it became that in '76 when I moved there because I've hated it ever since then.
Because I remember being a little kid in California back in the 60s, and there were new freeways going in, new roads, all the best schools in the country by a wide margin, and the sales tax was 6%. And nowadays, the sales tax 10%, and the roads are all messed up, and nothing's good anymore, and it's just crap. Well, the problem is, everybody says California, they mean Los Angeles. It's a big, giant state, but you get the hell out of the city and everything's different. But that's where the population center is.
I always think of Bakersfield for some reason.
Oh, that Bakersfield is kind of... Just have some Buck Owens playing when you drive in there.
Well, they either think Los Angeles or the San Francisco area.
Well, San Francisco is like its own planet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is that might interest you, Tony. It's like when they made the Clint Eastwood movie Every Which Way to Loose, they split the filming locations between like Bakersfield or somewhere there with East Aurora, where we lived, and it melded.
Zanzibar.
What?
The Zanzibar.
Zanzibar. It all melded into the same. My mom went to Zanzibar, like that was her hangout. Was Zanzibar, and you gotta figure it's an interesting place. It was. We told you about Colfax, which was like the longest boulevard in the world. It just went all the way through Denver. When Colfax, where it ends is like halfway to Kansas, and it's just nothing. It's just nothing but tundra in the winter. But it's just wheat fields, and that's where we lived in this trailer park there. And East Colfax, that was it. It was just these little.
So.
It was honky-tonk places and stuff, and that's where my mom used to. She was a waitress at one of them, and that's where they filmed Every Which Way But Loose. So when we saw it in the drive-in in '78, '79, we were watching it in the terrain that it was made. And to Tony, that's nothing because that's where he lives. But to us, it was kind of neat because it actually brings back memories.
Well, what's really fun is watching a TV show that's supposed to be set in D.C. and seeing, oh, there's the Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they did that with Die Hard 2. They had the airport. They had scenes in Die Hard 2 a lot of it was filmed in Denver, and it was supposed to be Washington, D.C. And it's like, the Washington, D.C., they got these big mountains.
Well, I mean, you watch Hogan's Heroes, and if you look really close at the background, you can see the occasional palm tree.
My favorite thing is when you'd watch Baba Black Sheep or Black Sheep Squadron or whatever they call it now. Whenever the Corsairs would come in landing, they always had that highway in the background where you could see cars, going.
And Laura said, right, or palm trees in New York, quotation marks. I liked Black Sheep until they had the nurses come to the island.
Yeah, they had to start screwing around with it.
I like women, but the show wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah, it was
this romance
because the early I like the early episodes a lot better. The cast, even though all of them were too old, it was really what's funny is they called Gregory Boyington, they called him Pappy in real life because he was 27.
Yeah.
And Bob Conrad was at least 10 years older than that when he was doing the show. And Flying Fighter Planes is a young man's game, Tom Cruise notwithstanding.
Remember that episode of Black Sheep? This is where it jumped the shark. Is when he finally, because you remember Hirachi, who was nice guy Boynton, the ace, the
Right.
Tommy.
Remember finally when I guess he crashed his plane, and like everything, he goes over the hill and there's the explosion.
Right.
Because they won't even crash a model, which is disappointing. And then he survived, and he comes out there, and they're both doing like this duel at each other, and they got the music. And then Bob Conrad puts that damn battery on his shoulders, like knock it off. There, and it's like, oh, it's this freaking Duracell commercial, the Rayovac or whatever it was. You gotta be kidding me!
Oh boy.
And then you gotta work on these wrong.
Yeah, there you go.
And then the funny part with that too is Pappy Boynton. He was 27, but wasn't he shot down and actually taken prisoner like 72 days after he became the commander of the
basically
Black
the
Sheep?
time frame of that show was like you say, maybe a month and a half, because he spent the last year of the war in POW camp. I read his book, and he said that he got released from the POW camp like 2 days before it would have been a year. And of course, they didn't give him any alcohol. And he was an alcoholic. They weren't kidding around. He was an alcoholic. And he always thought that if he'd been a prisoner for an entire full year, that he might have been able to kick the drinking. But because it wasn't quite a full year, he went back to being an alcoholic.
Well, it's kind of like the time frame of MASH, like a 3-year war.
True.
It took them 12 years to go. Shit.
That too.
And everybody else in MASH, had a 1 year tour of duty in Korea, except for
Oh yeah.
Hawkeye.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because people rotate through all the time. Yeah.
Except for Hawkeye.
Oh, he just got a bigger and bigger soapbox to stand on, I guess.
And then Major Houlihan.
I didn't frequent that show. I remember a little bit about MASH, but I just from what people complained about was that his soapbox got bigger and bigger, where it's like it became not about Hawkeye, but it became more of the what's the guy who played him?
Alan Alda.
Yeah.
It became the Alan Alda show, and whatever soapbox he was trying to do at the time.
Well, it became more and more of the soapbox too of the Bloodworths, who like their name was, I think it was Bloodworth. They were the writers or the producers of the show or something.
Oh, Bloodworth
Yeah,
Thomason.
like
Bloodworth
that,
Thomason. Yeah.
I would have changed that name. Who wants to go through?
Linda Bloodworth Thomason is a hyphenated last name.
And she's very, 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 very,
that way.
Yeah. Not saying that, but,
What was I going to say? We were right before. Here we go again. We're right before MASH. We were talking about
Mexican.
Well, there was after MASH. Now, the Mexican food was the other day.
Darren said something about.
We were talking about California and how the whole state's not really like LA,
Yeah, I mean,
but then
right
and I
before
said
MASH.
San Francisco was a different planet.
and we're talking about
Yeah, but
Baba
this is-
Black Sheep.
Oh, Baba Black Sheep. You're on the right track.
Okay.
Happy Boynton.
Abby Boynton,
Hirachi the Pooh.
Hirachi the Pooh.
And then we were
I had
talking
this in my
about,
mind too. I'm like, oh, I'll remember this little bookmark before I go to. And shit, it's gone. It was. Like,
you're the one who talks about having notepads and always writing down your ideas.
And I write a lot of things down, but that one I don't need to write this down because I got this right in my mind and know exactly what it is. And it, F. It's a good thing I'm not doing the gummies, or I wouldn't have remembered anything.
You quit those things?
What?
You quit doing those?
No, I don't quit them, but I don't do them on this night. I do 'em
Ah,
on the
okay.
Well, if I did this tonight, I wouldn't have remembered anything I had to say.
Yeah. I don't know. Because you hadn't mentioned him in a long time.
Well, all I can say is because of the gummies, that's the reason I came out with a double Apology None album instead of a single.
Ah. So that's
that's
what
too bad.
happened.
Did Putt just say that's too bad? Putt's never liked my works.
No.
I like that one song.
What one song? Oh, really? The one that you played the bass and the.
Oh,
No, I
Forever
didn't
for
like
No
that.
Reason. That's Putt's favorite.
No, I didn't like it.
Putt doesn't like anything.
No,
Yeah,
I didn't.
me
The
neither.
full feature film, and Putt's one of the principal characters in the film. He hasn't even watched it yet.
Yeah.
I have too. I watched it.
You watched my new film?
Yes.
All the
You
way
did?
through?
Yes.
You did. I didn't know that. I've been telling everybody. I've been, writing your obituary saying he's a great guy, even though he didn't watch it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I watched it.
What did you say?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, you just watched it and just turned it off and said, fuck this shit. Well, no, that would have meant you said something.
Putt likes Everclear. Coke.
Again, I don't.
I remember that addiction to Everclear. I was at a party once.
So Putt, was the movie any good?
I thought it was good. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it held together pretty well.
That's about all you can expect, really. That's a good thing.
Well, it's a good
Well,
thing.
you can-
I'm glad you held together.
Yeah.
thanks.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, we're really glad you held together to come tell us
Yeah.
about how much the movie held together.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's been admitted into 14 film festivals.
Yay.
Good.
He's really
I
big
know
in
it-
France, too. He's going to be the next Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, it's in France.
France.
The one I'm really hoping it goes into, because I'd like to visit some of these places, but it's hard. Just because you're in a film festival and admitted, it doesn't mean it's going to screen.
Hmm.
That's the whole thing. It's like when you're admitted, that means you can use their laurel officially.
Yeah.
You can use it on IMDb or you can use it on your website that it's been in this film, and it means that it goes in front of the judges, and it means it's a part of their thing. But it doesn't mean that it'll screen and be visible on a film screen. And the thing is mine is a feature film, and it makes it harder because they only have so much time to allot to, and then when I've got a feature, if I had a music video, it probably had a lot better chance of being screened in these places. But it being an hour and 14-minute film, but it's weird.
It'll-
It's like the last Page of Summer from 5 years ago, because of COVID, it screwed everything up. So it really only screened in 2 festivals in the whole world out of the 25 it was admitted in. And one was in Denver when they showed it actually on the convention center outdoor with the speakers. That was amazing. And in St. Petersburg, Russia. And I was actually looking at plane tickets to view that one. And I would think I was just looking at the Google, and they were like, yeah, Russians not wanting to see visitors right now. Because the Ukraine war hadn't started yet, but Biden said something stupid and pissed off Putin, and it was kind of like, shit, well, I don't want to get involved.
Well, the thing is, even
Yeah,
if they're pissed off at, the government, they still like the American people.
You would think, but I just saw something that they weren't wanting to see visitors. I'm like, well, I don't want to end up like that stupid basketball player that got arrested. I didn't want to be a news story. I wouldn't be a news story anyway because I'm not a somebody. I'm not a basketball player.
Well,
So
you can
it's
be
like,
somebody if you do somebody-ish enough.
But I did talk to them. I said, so you're really showing that? They're like, yes. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to, I want to come out and see it, but it said that Russia's not really wanting me here. And they're like, we understand. But,
Did they dub it over in like Russian?
That's another thing. that's changed in the last 5 years. Before, there were a lot of requirements where you had to have subtitles for foreign countries. Now it's almost universal, where it must be because of AI technology. Basically, the universal thing is it must be in English, or if it's not in English, you have to dub it. But I did get my closed captioning. I paid to have it done, so it's like I've got it closed captioned, and I found some free software that burns it into, so you can actually have a subtitled burned movie now, which I do have English. But no, the one I really want is, there's one that they contacted me privately, wanting me to be in their festival, and it was in Serbia, in Belgrade.
Ah,
I thought that might be a neat one to go to.
Yeah.
So I'm keeping an eye on it. There's another one in Spain that would contact me privately. They were one of those people that really want you to go there for them to screen it.
But everybody else in Spain doesn't want anybody going there.
In Spain, in Barcelona?
Yeah. They're like no tourists, and they're protesting against tourists and such.
Oh, I know you said that. Yeah,
I don't-
they're splashing water on them and stuff.
Apparently, that's all of Southern Europe now.
well, you can't
Well-
really blame them.
Well, you know,
I have no desire to go to Europe.
Like that guy, Paul McCartney.
Oh, the Knights, yeah. It's Sir Paul and Sir Ringo.
Did they
'Cause
say
you
that
know
when
they've
they're
got
on-
armor and horses and crap in the case there's ever a dragon.
Isn't today Ringo's birthday or yesterday?
7th.
I think
Yeah,
it
yesterday.
was. It's like the
He's like
Queen-
95 or 85 or.
Maybe.
Hey, we're at war now. Paul, would you don your armor and get on your horse? And he's like, "Oh, I don't even know what the. I don't. What's the thing you gave me there in the hallway? Was that what you're talking about? I stuffed it with muffins, and they all became stale and stuff." I told you, Paul, you shouldn't have done that stuff. If you'd have listened to Yoko, you'd have, Never mind.
We were listening.
I was chuckling.
Sorry. Maybe I should have just, wrote a. Maybe you should write a new film, call it "Escape from Yonkers" or something.
Escape from Colorado. In the end, it's a big failure.
Yeah.
Did you know that Bob Dylan? Not Bob Dylan. Who's the other Bob? Bob Seger.
Bob Geldof.
Oh, Seeger,
Yeah,
yeah.
Bob Seger has a song called "Escape from Denver."
Get out of Denver, baby. Yeah.
Get out of Denver.
Yeah, it's easier said than done.
I'm sorry, it's not funny.
Well, you just do a road warrior thing, get in your buggy and have the, all the weirdos follow you and zip out into the wasteland and kill as many people as you want, and then
Yeah.
go on about the happy ending,
No, that wouldn't work because my only friend here is Australian. He stole all my gas.
Ah.
They do that.
Darren, do you remember that postcard I gave you? It's okay. I think I've got I think I made a screenshot of it. I've got to find this. I sent a postcard to Darren from my trip to Perth.
Ah.
It's okay,
I was
Darren.
trying
He
to
does.
tell what it was like in Australia, and I was trying to say that it was. I thought it might be stupid as shit, but I thought at the time it was pretty hilarious. It was about talking about that they were pissed because I didn't bring any gasoline with me, and it was just it was a real postcard with like. It was like a postcard with 500 words scribbled in it.
Yeah.
It was really, but I thought it was kind of funny. I said that they watch Seinfeld there, but like George is played by an orangutan. It was just all this stuff. I can't. I'll have to find it because I know I did a screen capture of it or something.
I was going to say, don't worry, Darren. He does too. He'll say, remember that time you walked into the mall and got kicked in the ball by some midgets? And you're like, what?
No. I said, do you remember that time you walked into the Aurora Mall and you got dick kicked by a Smurf?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, Darren remembers it. Putt didn't remember, Putt didn't remember, but he said that's why he ate Smurfs. I guess
So that's why I take fish oil, vitamin D, and B12.
Ah.
That's to prevent the dementia and stuff, but it's
Oh,
not
there you
working.
go.
Dementia.
Well, speaking of dementia, look at these guys. They don't have a clothesline, but they do have a helicopter. So you think it'd just be easier to just park the helicopter and just get a clothesline? Oh, we could use the
Remember when I did
helicopter.
that? I wasn't a helicopter, but remember when I got clotheslined in Palmy Tower?
Mm,
I don't
that's French for potato.
Oh gosh, I was. I can't remember what happened. There was some good news. I had some good news, and I went to tell a neighbor. This is out in the Ozarks. It's out in it's right in the middle of no man's land, but it's kind of a neighborhood, mostly trailers. So I'm running through all these yards to get the good news of whatever it was, and I went straight into a rusty clothesline right here. And I hit it so hard that my feet flew up and I just landed flat on my back. And I was bleeding out of my mouth. It tore my gums apart.
Hence the word clotheslining, so.
Yeah, well, I was seriously clotheslined. It was this rusty metal. It wasn't even, it was just this metal thing. And I was running so fast that I didn't even see it. And it just, and I remember
You were
coming
probably
back.
lucky it wasn't here.
Yeah, I guess I was. And I come back and Darren says, "What's the matter?" I'm bleeding all out of my mouth. I told him what happened. So I don't know if he called, because my dad and his wife, Geraldine, they were building a house on the other end of the lake. So we called them up. And I think Darren called her. I just heard on the other end of the phone telling Timmy, he's bleeding and blood. And I heard, "Robert!" She's calling Dad, and nothing really happened. But I had a permanent, like on my bottom tooth, I had a permanent, like where my tooth showed all the way down.
Ah.
Like I didn't have that gum anymore from it. It might have grown back since then. This is like from when I was 15 or 14 or something.
Yeah, I don't remember
Anyway,
that
it was
at all.
funny. It was a funny story.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even bad. It wasn't even bad at the time. It was this experience. Does that make any sense?
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of a horrible thing, but it was just like sometimes horrible things. It's just like,
Well, it's when horrible things happen to horrible people. It's like, it does happen.
Worse. No. What was worse is I got out of the shower there. It was about the same period of time, and I found, I don't know how something was on my butt. Yeah, right near my butthole. I was like, "What is this?" And I looked in the mirror, like, "What the hell is on my butthole?" And I told my dad, I'm like, I think I got a tick on my butt. So I'm like, and my dad's like, "Well, here, drop your pants. Let's take a look at it." And he's like looking, and he's like, "Geraldine, come on." And they're letting me spread my sheets. It's like, "What is this?" And she's like, "Well, I think that's part of you," and everything. And it wasn't. It was a tick.
It wasn't a ladybug.
It was
It wasn't a
PJ.
ladybug, and it wasn't a mole. It
was
was a
Pete
tick, and I finally got rid of it. But it's one of those things that you think about at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was one time where Darren had the lawn tractor thing. Remember that, Darren, when you tried to go over the hill with the lawn tractor and it got out from under you?
No, I don't remember stuff.
We remember stuff for you, Darren.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. It's vaguely familiar.
Our favorite, mine and Putt's favorite story about you is when we're in Mr. Neff's class and you're sitting back in the corner all by yourself with your headphones on, not bothering anybody, and Mr. Neff starts yelling at you.
Yeah, I said, "I wasn't even talking." He said, "Well, I'm sure you instigated it."
Well, to be fair, he's probably right. And you know what? That has had an influence on me because every day I drink warm water with lemons in it. I do. I learned that from Neff. And there was one time where we were in the library and we were supposed to slice with this paper shredder these big pieces of paper and do something with it. So I do this thing and I cut my finger right open, blood everywhere. And Neff is like, "You're the first person in history that's ever done this." And he hated when he drew cars. And I'm a total car guy.
Yeah.
That's all I do. That's all I think is cars.
Oh,
And
all he drew was
the
Indians.
it was the first or second car I drew. He's like, "That's not all you can do all year is cars, are you?"
Said, yep.
Yep.
And then another thing is I drew this landscape with all these sea creatures, with these fish. Had a manta ray and all these different fish, and it. I don't remember what the project was, but when he was critiquing it in front of the class, he says, "Timmy here, he's the blacksmith of artists." And he talked about how my heavy brush. I didn't take it as an insult. I actually took it as a compliment because he didn't say it sucked. He just talked about my technique, and I appreciated that. And yeah, I really did.
Well, that's good. At least it was a compliment.
I don't know if it was a compliment or not, but it was I consider it an effective critique, and it wasn't a critique that I took personally that I wanted to change I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll work on that and still be a blacksmith artist because that's what I did. The only thing he did that kind of pissed me off was he had us go out around the campus and paint something, something. So I painted a utility pole. And I had I had some kind of a little widget that was stuck to it with some wires coming out. Like it must have been a ground breaker or something.
No.
Well, there must have been a ground breaker going into the utility pole. It had screws on it. So I drew this thing, and the utility pole was green. It was painted green. Or it was treated with something that made it green. So I just painted it as I saw it. He says, "Oh, I see you're feminizing the." I saw what I'm going to fuck you, fuck off, fuck it, yeah. And I ran out, and I probably shouldn't have overreacted like that, but
Yeah.
He failed me out of his
Understandable.
Guys, I'm going to take off. I got to lay down.
Okay.
class.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you're, because
I was gonna say,
you hung out for a long time. We were really happy to have you.
So I'm glad to be back. It's nice.
so,
are you going to be back again?
Yeah, hopefully
Don't
next week.
scare us like that, bud.
Well,
I'm gonna get together with you and Jim and find out a good time to come up there and visit. So
Yeah.
Sounds good.
yeah,
Right.
sounds
And
good.
take care of yourself, man.
Thank
Stay
you.
away from
Yep,
those stupid
definitely.
ass medical people.
Good seeing y'all. Hey, Darren, it was good talking to you again.
Yeah, it's good talking to you.
You guys
I've
take
been
care.
wanting to.
Oh, you're hanging out? You're going to leave too, Darren?
No,
Oh, okay. I misinterpreted. Yeah, hang out with us. We're having fun.
Darren flunked out of the class, and I got an A in the class, and I wasn't even registered in it.
Oh, nice.
well, to be fair, I stopped going.
Ah.
It took him like 2 months to finally fail me out of it, so could have been worse.
You know what my best memory of Neff's class was, actually? I was just getting into Zeppelin. And I had heard on, because I was just getting into Rock 105, which was the actual classic rock station in Denver. And I was just absorbing all of Zeppelin. And they played this song, and they didn't announce it like most DJs do. And I was in Neff's class, and there was this Arab guy with kind of a hook nose. He was kind of had long hair, and he had his headphones on, and you could hear it bleeding out of his headphones, and he was playing that song. There's that song. It was Kashmir.
Ah.
It's the first time Kashmir registered to me. And that was my best memory of Neff's class, was hearing Kashmir through this other guy's headphones. he was pretty cool. He was like, my other memory of him is he was trying to sneeze and he couldn't. Well, go out the back door and look at the sun. The sun always makes me sneeze. So he's like, okay. He goes out the back door. He's like, it didn't work. I said, can't sneeze. It's funny what you remember from those days.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my best memory of Neff's class. Cashmere. I actually went on Spotify and found all of my favorite Zeppelin songs. It ends up I like 31 Zeppelin songs.
Mm.
What were you saying, Darn?
I like Neff's cars. I didn't care at the time, but he had 2 Mercedes. I think they were the SL convertibles, and he would alternate them because he did. I guess he was an architect, so he had money, and they would announce over the PA occasionally, "Mr. Neff, would you please come to the office and pick up your paychecks?"
Good Lord, no wonder he looked good.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Neff looked like Hulk, Bill Bixby. He looked like a 41-year-old Bill Bixby, but he was 66 years old when he was my teacher.
Who was the actor from Jaws?
Oh, yeah, Brody.
Roy Scheider.
Roy Scheider. He kind of looked Roy Scheider-ish.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Darren's, I think he's closer to it, Roy Scheider, but Bill Bixby, yeah, it's pretty close. Roy Scheider, yeah, I could understand that.
Well, I've watched Jaws recently. I haven't seen Bill Bixby since the 70s, probably, maybe 80s.
They were pretty similar, but now that you say Roy Scheider, I can say that, yeah, he looked more like him. But yeah, Darren and I had a funny joke. I came up with something because he always had a lemon in his water. He had warm water and lemon. That was he always had it on his desk. And I was going to make for our final project, I was going to have a lemon on his desk and Mr. Neff stuck in the warm water bottle trying to get out in his glass.
Yeah,
I thought it was funny.
He would have failed you.
I know he would, because it didn't have a stripe going down the middle.
Yeah.
And I had a photography teacher in photography class, which was convenient. And I had bought a vintage, very nice camera from the 50s. And it had an detachable, very long telephoto lens, and it had this. You take off the top of it, and it had a TV screen, and you could see the TV screen, look down, and see everything that's going on. And I was such a jerk that my photography teacher, oh yeah, what brand is it? And I was too ashamed to even tell him the brand because I was just thinking he would like snub it. And it was probably a really good brand. It was called an Adixa. I just never heard of the brand, and I was too ashamed. I'm like, I don't remember what the brand was. That's how low my self-confidence was back then.
Mm.
And that was probably the high point of your self-confidence.
Yeah, don't even get me started. These guys, they all know about Colorado and my whole... And I'm not like, when I talk about Colorado, I'm not saying that everybody around me was assholes, which they were. But so, I was an I was an idiot too. I just, as a part of my life that I want to,
I think the worst part of Colorado is everybody has beards, even the men.
I know, right? That's horrible. I remember, Darren, when we watched, Grandma sent us, my grandma recorded on PBS a Moody Blues concert because she knew I loved the Moody Blues, which I did, and I appreciated her sending me this. But it was the Moody Blues live at Red Rocks, which was a big deal. It was a PBS special, and she recorded it and sent it to us, and we watched it. And all I could think of was how ugly all the girls were in the audience. And I think even Brian Bessie said, I went to school with her. we're like, I'm sorry. It's like all of them were. It's like, this is terrible. And like Darren said, it's like they all had beards. The women did. And that's what we grew up with.
It's okay. Most of the men here in Florida have beards now too. So
Yeah, that's
I
okay.
gotta say, Darren, the Carrie looked cute though. She was good looking.
Who's that?
Carrie?
Oh, my girlfriend.
Yeah, she looked good.
Well, yeah, she was cute. They nicknamed her nickname at her school was Barbie,
Ah,
so that's a good
It's-
sign.
She looked like she was good looking. But gosh, it's like
Did I tell you when I bought this house 12 years ago, she was the closing agent, so she was walking me through all the papers and stuff.
How did that go?
Yeah, it's unfortunate because now I can't sell the house. But she was still attractive.
this is Red Rocks behind me right here.
Ah.
It's not a good photo, got shot because the rocks are hidden by shade and they have no exuberance. It's like
All right.
the only exuberance is behind it, the mesa. And I think the red rocks should have their own exuberance and the mesa should be like subdued.
Let me see if I can.
But I appreciate the effort. You should have a stripe going down the center of it.
Yes, I should.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find a Red Rocks one that has the
And no
rocks. Actually.
cars. If he liked good cars and had say so, why did he hate when we drew cars? Because I guess every teenage boy, that's all we think about.
yeah. Well, what else can you draw? Toasters?
What?
What else are you going to draw? Toasters?
I was
I
listening
have
to
no
a
idea what he wanted. What?
I was listening to a short thing that was talking about this guy in Missouri that has the largest small appliance collection of old stuff. And he was talking about this one waffle iron he has, and it's made out of pot aluminum. And he said if you used it, you had to be really careful not to let it overheat because it would melt and then set everything on fire.
Nice.
Shit.
So I guess it wasn't a mass market thing.
Well, I've still got my convection oven. I still unplug it because Darren and I, our dad was a fireman, and both of his brothers were kind of from a fireman family. And I even remember after my dad passed away, we were at kind of staying in his trailer, and I remember Clay, his brother, was unplugging a toaster, and they're like, "Why'd you unplug?" Because I'm a fireman. It's a good field of view to have, I guess. No one's house is ever burnt down by people unplugging things, I don't think.
I've wondered if more people die falling off ladders changing smoke alarm batteries or are saved by smoke alarms.
Well, it depends what color you are, but I ended up, gosh, that one landed like a rock.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of sense in that I could figure out.
Yeah.
There's a whole meme, oh my gosh, going around that people a certain color, every time they bitch about stuff, there's a beat going on behind them.
Yeah.
You don't know that yet? That's been going on for like 3 years now. It's been going on so much that I've had to complain to the content creators, that big content creators, if you don't stop doing this as a joke and adding the beeps when certain people are talking, because my dogs go, Captain doesn't like it.
I don't like it. There was a radio show I listened to, and the producer thinks it's funny to put the beep in.
Yeah, they do it. They do it with a certain color, and it doesn't sound good, and the dogs hate it.
Yeah.
Captain used to whine when I took all my detectors down
Yeah.
because, and I even told one of these people that I did that, and their response, "You took your smoke detectors down just because of that?" And I'm like, I replaced them with 10-year smoke detector batteries.
Yeah.
You can buy smoke detectors that have 10-year batteries, and they're not going to chirp every 2 months like these. And I couldn't stand it because if you got 10 smoke detectors, you don't know which one's chirping.
Yeah.
And you gotta
yeah,
take
the,
them all
the
down.
high frequency sound, you can't tell where the hell it's coming from.
Yeah, and exactly. And you can take them all down, and I've got a tester. I can take all the 9-volt batteries, and they're all in the green.
Yeah.
I'm sick of this. I'm sick of it. And I took all of them down, put them in the shed, and I put up 10-year smoke detectors. And knock on wood, they've been pretty good. And I'll be right back. We've got a half an hour, Darren, if you can stick with us.
Sure. Are you gonna go change the smoke detector?
Yeah.
Takes a smoke detector.
Yeah, I hate that too. I've been replacing mine as they start chirping with the 10-year deal.
Mine are hard. The house we bought here in Florida, the smoke detectors are hardwired in.
But they still have a backup battery in case power goes out.
Right.
But like Timmy's saying, they probably have a long life battery. Because what I hate is the smoke detectors that talk. You know, in the middle of the night, the thing goes off. It goes, fire. You know, it's like freaking Beavis and Butthead. Fire, 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 fire. It's like bullshit. And you're arguing with the thing. It's no fire. Shut up. Fire, fire.
Yeah. My phones start yelling out, low battery, when they're dying. I'm like, just die like the phones used to.
People could call me.
Yeah.
I get my random, daily call from Texas that I get every day for like the past 5 years.
What's that for?
I don't know. It's a spam call, I'm sure, but it's just I don't answer it. But every day it's from some different town in Texas. And when you go look up the town, it's like some town of like 400 people out in the middle of nowhere, Texas. Like, yeah, I know somebody there,
Right. Well, they're probably just concerned about your auto warranty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a friend of mine who got one of those calls. You know, your warranty's expired, and my friend has a 1940 Dodge. And last I checked, they didn't have 80-year warranties.
He said, yeah, that warranty expired 84 years ago.
Hey, Darren, in case I forget, I'm sure I don't want to speak for everybody, but you're always welcome here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we're looking forward to you moving to Florida.
Yeah.
And you just rubbing it in.
We are looking forward to it.
It'll happen. I think it'll happen next month when you make, when you do the next preparation thing. Preparation G. You're already up to preparation G, so I think it'll be all right.
Yeah. Skipped H. That's the good one.
You never skip H.
My contractor is going to pull all the carpet off of my main stairs as you come in and make them hardwood stairs all the way up.
Oh,
So I think that they'll look better and smell less like 10-year-old dog pee.
Oh, okay.
And they're both pluses.
Yeah.
And plus, also, they'll be slipperier, so people can fall down and die.
If you want to buy Darren's house, he lives right on like a mini Central Park.
Ah.
That would require going back.
It's
That would
nice.
require.
Require what?
I said that would require going back to Colorado. So.
Well, that's
Yeah.
you don't want to tell people that when they buy the house.
You don't tell them it's in Colorado.
Colorado has its benefits. It's illegal for the government to raise taxes without people voting on it. So now they call everything a fee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tabor law.
They get more money from fees than they do taxes.
Yep, they do.
Well, you were one of the government people that was in charge of that got shot.
No, I wasn't.
I thought police chiefs they're like Congress people.
No.
That's one of the big city where the police chief is some kind of weird hire that's like a politician who's never actually been on the force.
Yeah, is it the police? Who's the lady in L.A.? No, she must be the mayor of L.A.
That was the mayor.
Yeah, the latest thing is everybody's holding her accountable for all the crap that's going on. She's just like, shut up, go away.
Yeah, actually, she actually played Aunt Esther on Sanford and Son.
No.
What? Really? In real life? Sorry. Fell for it.
One of the radio shows I listen to, they play pretty much sheriffs exclusively from Florida. And they're like, stuff like, if you attack one of my deputies or pull a knife, we will shoot you a lot.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I like that one that said, yeah, if he was going through the list and he says, if you throw a Molotov cocktail or this and that at one of our deputies, we will notify your family.
Yeah. If you spit on our deputies, you're going to the hospital and then you're going to jail.
Yeah. But yeah,
And then what was the one?
he did
Something
end
about
it
the-
with, if you do this and that, you'll be graveyard dead. We'll notify your family where your remains are located. That was pretty good. There's people that Thunder. You've heard of the Florida Man thing, Darren, right?
Oh yeah.
Superhero. Everybody, and that's what I don't understand. And it's like my main memory is meeting the Willy Wonka kids, and I was actually dressed as Florida Man, the gator costume that I make, and he was asking about my costume, and I said I'm Florida Man, and we had a conversation about it. And I'm saying, you realize that the only reason that Florida is the butt of all these jokes is because Florida is the only one that has a sunshine law where they make public all their criminal records. So when these bloggers or news people want to find something, they can just go to Florida because that's where every country, I mean, every state has got the same weirdos. Look at California. Could you imagine if California made all their records public?
Or even just Bakersfield.
Yeah, exactly. And so he was actually, my TV was like, really? I didn't realize. And he was actually the coolest kid from Willy Wonka because he was like the notorious brat. And in fact, when I first saw him, I said, you released all the bees on the set. And he said, I don't have any memories of it, but that's how the story goes. So that, he was pretty cool. He was a cool guy. And then when I changed costume and went as the robot later in the day, he actually approached me and says, I didn't realize you were the gator early. They told me that he was a really nice guy. And I thought he was a jerk in watching the movie. He became all small because he was sarcastic and big mouth.
Did you tell him he should have won the factory?
I probably should. You know what? I could have said stuff like that to Charlie, who played Charlie, but he acted like he hated being Charlie. He hated even being there.
Well, isn't he like a doctor or veterinarian or
Yeah, he's a
something
veterinarian.
in Pennsylvania or somewhere?
I've
He's
never
actually
met him
teaching.
because I always wanted to. I mean, he's Charlie, but I knew early on that he said in his interviews in the special features that he was embarrassed and he wanted out of the entertainment thing and he became a veterinarian. And,
Well, that's because Grandpa was an asshole.
oh, he was, and I should have mentioned that to him.
Lay in bed.
Acted like he was an invalid. As soon
Yeah,
as he
lay in
got
bed
that
for
money-
20 years.
Yeah, as soon as he got that money, he's like, "Oh, throw away the bedpan," and starts dancing around. I would have shot his ass. And he almost cost Charlie his whole deal. Oh, Willy Wonka's we're gonna give Slugworth this and that. And the original novel that didn't have that stuff about the Slugworth spy stuff and that whole subplot. I thought that was wonderful. That was one of the only times where a movie outshined the book. Tony disagrees with me because he read the book, but I just thought that Slugworth subplot was really good, and Gene Wilder's little quips and the things he did as Wonka were legendary.
Now, see, the Slugworth thing, it was amazing that Slugworth always happened to be right there, right after the person found the golden ticket.
Well,
Anywhere.
that was part of the subplot about it all being rigged, which actually worked. It actually worked, and it made you wonder how if Wonka could be trusted or not. You know that part where he had the cane and he was walking out like he was crippled, and then it got stuck in the cobblestone, and he did that pratfall. He like fell over and did the flip. Gene Wilder insisted on that, or he wouldn't do the role. I mean, that was him. I mean, God bless him. I mean, he totally.
And didn't he like not tell anybody he was going to do it, or not tell the other actors he was going to do it?
There were some things in that film that were improv. When everybody saw the chocolate room for the first time, the big room, the river and everything, they did not have any rehearsal. They just opened the door because they wanted everybody's reaction. And at the end, where Wonka tore Charlie a new one, saying, "You stole the fizzy lifting drinks, all that stuff." That wasn't. He had no idea that he was going to do that, and he didn't. And Wilder said he didn't want to rob Charlie of that, so they didn't rehearse it or anything. He just gave it to him. Unfortunately, they mostly showed the back of Charlie's head, but they did show his face after the fact, and his eyes are watered. I mean, it really worked. No wonder he didn't want to do that show anymore. I think it's one of the greatest movies ever made.
I've only really seen it once, many years ago.
Oh, watch it again. You owe it to yourself. And Veruca was very much like she was. I mean, I can't remember her name. Isn't that sad? I've got her autograph on the wall. Cole? I don't know. But she was very much Veruca when I met her. She saw me as a gator, and the first thing she said, she looked me up and down and said, "You're going to totally stain the sheets tonight." Like, "Oh no, I'll get out of this." And she was fun. And when I became the robot later that night, she's like, "How did you ever get that stuff off of you?" She's like, "It was very well done. You looked good, but there was so much stuff on you." She was pretty good, And then there was, like I said, there was Charlie. He just seemed uncomfortable and didn't want to be there.
Why was he there?
Yeah, that's fine.
Probably because somebody asked him to. There was an interesting of all of the Comic Cons I went to. That was the neatest because they had Barbara Eden, they had Vicki Lawrence, they had Janet and Terry from Three's Company. They had what's her name? She was a teen idol in the late 70s. Steve had a crush on her.
Oh, Christy McNichol?
Christy McNichol was there. And yeah, there were so many, but they were all budget. I mean, normally it's like when I met Paul Williams at the previous convention, he wanted like $80 for a picture, like a selfie with you, with your own camera. It was $80 to get a selfie with him with your own camera, and it was another $80 to get a signed autograph picture. So I just took with the selfie. I didn't get
I saw one just recently. There's one of the cons that's going on here later this year. One of the celebrities was like $100 for a personalized autograph and $200 for an unpersonalized autograph.
Who did that?
I can't remember. I'll have to look it up and bring it next week.
My friend who goes with me to these conventions, Wendy, she went to one without me, she said that Chevy Chase was in one and wanted like $200 or $300 for one. And it's like, really? Chevy Chase is cool. It would be cool to talk to him. Not that cool, but.
I guess the unpersonalized ones would be easier to sell, right?
Yeah, yes. The unpersonalized ones they can sell, as the autograph, and the personalized ones, you can't.
I really don't think they give a shit about that stuff selling on B. You think that if I was a movie star, I couldn't care less if somebody took my autograph and sold it on eBay. I would be more interested in the personal experience. But you know what? Barbara Eden, she was the queen of all of it, really. I think her whole package, not in that way, Gottschalk. Her whole package was, I mean, she's 83 years old. Her whole package was an autograph picture and a selfie with you. It was like $70 or $80. That's a bargain. I mean, that's nothing.
Who'd you say the other girl was there that didn't like show up at her own thing or something?
Who's that now?
I don't know. You said there was another celebrity there that didn't show up at their booth for like a couple hours or left early or something.
Probably a lot of them because I'm trying to remember now. I'm sure that happened. It's almost a game. You stand in line and you are trying to meet these people, and they disappear for personal photo ops, paid photo ops.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't come back for 45 minutes. That's the game, is trying to get in line and get them before they disappear. And when Barbara Eden disappeared, that was the worst. I mean, Wendy and I were both suffering from dehydration. And
maybe that's what it was.
we'd even go to like some snack bar and get something to drink. And fortunately, as a robot, the only good thing about it is my feet are so heavy. They're like Hoover vacuums, my feet are. And they keep me upright. They're almost like anchors. So my arms became tired more than my body and my feet did. But it became so bad that when she finally came back, I was telling her handlers, is she going to leave again? I can't, no, she's going to stay here. I'm like, thank goodness. And there was a vendor right next to her selling genie bottles that he made by hand. Beautiful genie bottles. And he didn't have prices on them. And he should have, because it's like I'm waiting in line. And it's not until you're close enough. How much are these? They're $300. Shit, I can't afford that shit. He's like, but then it's later. You're a little bit for yeah. But he was so nice to me. He was giving me refreshments. He's like, for people in there, he's giving like $100 off or this and that or half off. Like, if I'd have known that before, I could have entertained it in my mind. This half hour standing here in agony, and I probably could have thought, well, maybe I could spare $150 or $200 to get this thing, because since it is a special, like I said, I didn't get the genie bottle, but I would have dropped it on the concrete because I was a robot. Robots aren't very good at handling things like boobies and bottles.
So you didn't go to Pensacon this year, did you?
I haven't gone there in a few years because they're there in Pensacon. It's in a stadium, and the first year I went there was just fine. You could just go in through the ground floor. But the next year they decided, well, only VIP members can go through the ground floor. Everyone else has to walk up to the very top of the stadium, which is like 3 giant stories, not regular stories, but giant stories. You got to take the ramp all the way up, which means me as a robot and Steve with his bad back, we'd have to go all the way to the top and work our way down through the bleachers, ants through the bleachers. And there was one time that I was a robot and was trying to go down the stairs and I almost fell. I didn't, but yeah, and I didn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. And also, and to get from one end of the arena to the other, there was this little tunnel and I would have to, as a robot, go down like this the whole time to not hit any sprinkler heads or anything like that.
Right.
And back and forth like that. It was bullshit. And I didn't realize until after the show that Clerks, they had a whole Clerks reunion. with the whole cast. I didn't even know they were there because I thought everybody was on the third floor where all the celebrities were. Everything, they were stuffed in the basement or somewhere. I didn't. It was just such a convoluted, stupid thing. I just never went back.
Well, the thing is, they don't realize, like, you know, I mean, Steve's got it much worse than I do, you know, but I got my little chronic pain in the butt, and I can do a mile, but something like that, it's like, I would just have to give it a pass.
Yeah, you wouldn't have. There are elevators you can use, but there's lines, and it's just very convoluted. There was a guy that I met a couple times, and if you got a cool costume, you know, people kind of correspond with you a little better, I guess. But there was a guy he was in what was the Timmy Dalton first James Bond one?
The first one was The Living Daylights.
Living Daylights. The guy was in Living Daylights, and he was also in some of the Star Wars movies and some other stuff. Kind of a big, muscular guy, and he was just the nicest guy, and would just talk to me, and each time. And I'm like, you know, this guy's so nice. I don't really know who he is, but I'm going to try to get his autograph just because he's so nice. I go to him the next day, he's gone. The floor that he was in was no longer a floor. You know what I mean? It's just such a convoluted place.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Well, when you go to those convention or show websites, they say this guest is only going to be here like Friday and Saturday, and this guest is going to be here, you know, Saturday only. And
I suppose, but it's like, what was his name? Tom Arnold. He was in the same room as somebody my friend Wendy wanted to see. She wanted to see someone with. She loved the Walking Dead people, so she was going to see somebody. And there's Tom Arnold. He's the only other person in the room. There's nobody there. He looked so upset. And I was the robot, and I was just like, look, he just was pissed.
Yeah.
I said, True Lies is the best movie ever. And he smiled at me and kind of gave a thumbs up and said thanks. But you could tell he was so pissed off. I think he was pissed off because he was stuffed in a room. And
nobody knew he was in there?
Yeah, everybody in the room just wanted to see the great Walking Dead people.
Oh.
And, so it's like the next
They
day.
weren't actually dead people. They were people from the TV show The Walking Dead.
Well, they didn't say that at the time.
Ah.
But anyway, the next day, they put him right by that time tunnel that we had to crawl through. So they put him right by one of the entrances. I said, hey, I remember you. And he looked at me. He's like, yeah, I remember you too. So that was about it, you know. But yeah, I guess he fussed and was put in a more public place. I forgot about his role in Austin Powers. I thought that was a funny movie. He was in the toilet scene. One of the 400 toilet scenes in that movie. Yeah, you show that turd who's boss. Remember that? Did you ever watch Austin Powers?
I think I've only watched it one time, and that's like when it came out.
Oh, come on. Darren showed me that movie. In the 90s. It was a good movie. I liked it. You should watch it. It's a good movie. Even though I think that the guy that starred in it is like one of the Epstein people. Not Epstein, but what was the other one? The one they just pardoned.
Oh, P. Diddy?
P. Diddy. He is part of that crowd.
Yeah, I wish I didn't go to so many P. Diddy parties.
You know, I feel, yeah, I understand because I feel guilty because one of my favorite, did I show you that movie, Darren? I think I did. Get Him to the Greek?
Yeah.
Because P. Diddy was his boss, the black guy in the movie.
Okay.
I thought he was hilarious. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know he was this mafia guy. I just liked the movie, and I thought the guy was funny in the movie.
The prequel to that I liked better. The forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Did you see that? I haven't seen that yet. Well, Darren, if you move out here, that will have to be one of the movies you show me because you like to show me movies.
Yeah, I used to. Like
Well,
movies.
we still got the old movies. We don't have to because Disney owns everything now, and they're Satan, so we don't have to watch that shit. But
Yeah, I don't do Disney.
I would like to see. I would like to see the ceremony. Anything like pre 2013. It changed. I think. Did you go with us? Because Putt said he went with us when we saw Iron Man 3 with Grandma.
I remember going to the bathroom during a fight scene. That's all I remember about that movie.
Mm.
So you were there. I just remember that Iron Man 3 was the changing point in movies. That's when it just went totally woke and weird, and it ruined it for me. And I didn't
Well,
know
they're
it at
making
the time because when I watched the movie, I was like, yeah, it was full of action. It was pretty good. And it wasn't until you don't know because you get caught up in the action, in the visuals. And then afterwards, when you're laying in bed, it's like, wait, why did this happen? This is stupid. Why did? And then you start second guessing and doubting everything you saw in the movie. And it went for me, from being like a 7 or an 8 to like a 1. I ended up hating it a couple of days later. Just as I started thinking about everything.
I just realized all the Marvel movies I've watched. I'm like, yeah, that was okay. And then one day I realized, I loved Iron Man 1, the first one. But after that, none of them really did a whole lot for me.
Well, tell you what,
The
when you get out,
The only ones I liked after Iron Man, I like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. They're okay.
Well, the guy that directed it, he's doing the Superman, and now he, like 2 days ago, he's like, yeah,
Peter
it's
Gunn?
political, and if you guys don't agree with my political views, then, screw off, you jerks.
Yeah.
And-
The guy who plays Superman said in that.
no, the director, James Gunn, just said that.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the guy that played Superman other than he just kind of looks like a Jewish guy. I don't mind him. I don't mind that. But I just don't think that they're capturing. He got rid of the American way part, and it's like the human way now.
Yeah.
I thought they did that before. I thought that was a big thing.
I don't care if they did that before. You know what? Here's the thing. If you wanted Superman to make $1 billion, have me direct it.
Yeah.
First thing I would have done is make it take place anywhere
The
from like
strip
about
club.
1938 to 1953. That era
Yeah.
where Superman was huge, where he was the bomb. And that's when I would have made it take place. And it would have been the American way. And he would have had a big neck. He'd have been buffed. He'd have been a big guy. He would have been a little nerd that gets beat up all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even if Superman was a little geeky nerd, wouldn't he still kick everybody else's ass just because,
Yeah,
Well,
that's
sure,
not
but
the
it
point.
doesn't
Superman
have the
gotta
right
have that-
impact. If he's
gotta
built
have
like
that-
Steve Urkel, it's come on.
Yeah.
but kicking everybody's ass?
I mean, technically, yeah. I mean, it could be like me being shrunk down to an ant farm
Yeah.
and,
You had one.
beating up the mean ants. That's not right. I don't want to beat up the mean ants. It's not right. He's got to.
Right.
There's a dynamic to it,
Yeah.
and there's an aesthetic. I think the another one I'm hoping fails is the new Fantastic Four with the stupid female Silver Surfer shit. But at least they got the aesthetics right. They got the '60s that Incredibles one kind of that thing going. The '50s retrofuturism.
Right.
I love that. I whoever's in charge of that part of it did great. The costumes, just fine. Keep the
Whoever that is at Disney.
Do what?
Whoever that is at Disney.
I don't think they're in Disney. I think they're contracted out.
Yeah.
Nobody in Disney could do anything that creative.
He used to. But what's
Used
funny,
to.
you want to cast a Superman like that. How many actors even have chins anymore in Hollywood?
I know that's a part. He just looks like a geek that can get beat up, and that's fine for Spider-Man. Spider-Man's supposed to be a geek.
Yeah, he's supposed to be. Yeah, that's the whole thing is a geek aesthetic.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a geek that can get beat up, but he uses superpowers and can do this and that. That's fine. Superman he's supposed to be a lot buffer.
He's supposed to look like Fred
than I
McMurray
am.
in his prime. Well, actually, that was the Flash. It was actually drawn, not the Flash, but Captain Marvel. It was actually in the original Captain Marvel comic book. He was patterned after Fred McMurray.
Well, Fred McMurray had the face. He
Yeah, he had the strong jaw and all that. I was watching some movie on the Vortex again. It was like this 1930s thing, and all the actors, the good guys and bad guys, they've all got it's just manly looking. And now it's like, you were talking about beards earlier. There's so many of these kids or these young dudes who they'll grow a beard to try and cover up a baby face, and it don't work.
Oh, speaking of babies' faces and beards, Darren. Darren,
I think we killed him. Oh, there we go.
3 weeks ago, Tony had hair past his shoulders. He looked like Chong or somebody. He for the first time in his life, he let it grow out.
Yeah.
For like, how many years, Tony?
Oh, over 2 years.
Yeah, his hair was actually, I had him like spread his hair out. He looked really cool. He looked like this, like, he had a kind of a beard going. He had a whole different look. You wouldn't have recognized him. But it was only like 3 weeks ago. He finally, he shaved it all off, his hair and his beard. But it was, he had a whole different look. He looked like the guy behind him almost.
Yeah, I did that during COVID too, just to punish everybody else in the
Yeah.
world. So,
The problem is, I think it may have looked good on camera, but my hair is just too thin and too just
Wispy.
yeah, too wispy. It didn't work, and it was always in my mouth. And this has been my look most of my life. The guy from the 1950s, promotional film.
You're the Charmin guy, Mr. Whipple. Please don't squeeze those boobs. Like that's just what it was code for, squeeze.
Ah, is that what that was?
Is that what you say on the show, Tony?
I guess.
Please don't squeeze the boobs.
Yeah,
Tony told me that he looked like Mr. Whipple. I wouldn't just lay that on him.
No, I've gotten, and I never remember the guy who said yes on the Jack Benny show. I always forget his name.
He was on every Bugs Bunny episode, pretty much.
Yes.
Tony's very old-fashioned. Darren, you probably know a lot about Tony from this past conversations. He's very fine and very comfortable dressing in 40s clothes and 40s hats.
And he looks good in it.
Yeah, he looks good. He would go on like they would have cosplay kind of things on the Queen Mary, and he would go there just dressed in total 40s garb. And isn't there a picture of you with a 1940s Plymouth? Yeah.
I don't know if I have him in there.
Tony has been in a music video for Social Distortion, Machine Gun Blues. He's in that video. He plays the fat man in the background, walking with the suitcase back and forth. It's pretty cool. I'm not in a music video. Tony's in a music video.
You're in a big music video, and you're 2 movies.
There
Big
you go.
music
There's
videos.
Tony.
So the guy with the bellhop uniform, that was right on the money.
Really, he looks a little
That's
queer
cool.
to me. Well, I guess that's just today's kind of. Yeah, look at that. That's a good one. That could have been taken in like 1972 and stuff. Yeah. I love getting that face on Tony.
Yeah, you got to understand, Timmy and numbers have kind of a shaky relationship.
Yeah, I hate math. I have nightmares of math. Do you have that 42 Plymouth picture?
46, but
Anyways, guys, I'm going to have to call it quits. My phone's down to like 5%. So
all right, and so is my
I guess
bladder.
we need to wind this thing up. Thanks for hanging out, Darren. You're welcome to come here anytime.
Very much so. I hope you don't end up
we're all
hating me
here.
like
All right,
that
thank you.
Thomas guy.
We'll get Thomas back.
I don't know,
But at
man.
least he doesn't hate you, Tony. He doesn't hate us. He just,
He's a busy man.
very busy. I feel like he's gonna die just from the labor his wife or his girlfriend.
What's it? We like postpone that for a while. We thought we're going to lose Putt like 3 weeks ago.
I know. I sure hope we get Putt back. That was
Glad
a
he's
big
back.
surprise. That's been the
And he was
surprise
actually
of the year.
sounding better than he has in a long time.
Yes, absolutely did.
God
Like to the
bless him.
point where you almost should get him to fucking re-record that one line in the movie.
I'm glad to hear he's finally saw the movie. I was thinking, goodness, he's his principal star. He hasn't seen our movie. Anyway,
All right, guys.
thanks
All
for
right.
coming here, Darren. Anytime. I hope we get
Yep.
here again.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, everybody who's watching,
Take care,
and
everybody. Good
Laura
luck in
and
the house, Darren.
Fidesco.
Who's ever
and-
left?
See you, Fidesco and Laura and Lewis. Take care, everybody. When every other weekend we do this on Transforama. Every other week doing the Transforama channel. Same link and everything, but
Yeah.
we get more people usually.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Well, take care, everybody.
Present. All right. Bye.